In the beginning, there was nothing. And then there was the Drunken Peasants Podcast.
I gotta get a witness. No!
Say, man, you got a joint? No, not on me, man.
I don't have facts to back this up.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
That's true. Sometimes I cry.
Oh!
Lick my butthole, he laughed.
From the strangest corners of the internet, here to bring you opinions of the world from an altered perspective. Here are your hosts, the Drunken Peasants.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Drunken Peasants Podcast. This is episode 1460. Doing it live, 1460. Getting ever closer to that 1500. That should be interesting. Shabisky was supposed to be here. He sent me a DM 2.5 hours ago saying that he was free to be on tonight. I don't know where he is. I sent him DMs in places. I sent him a text message to his actual phone number. He has not yet responded, but he's... Oh, it says he's active. Hold on a second. Let's see. Waiting on you. He's so unprofessional. Give the stream a like if Shabisky is unprofessional. I'm tired of this unprofessionalism. Jism-tism. Tired of it. Tired of it. Tired of it. Tired of it. Shabisky. I'm calling him on Discord right now just to get his attention. It says he's active. Like his shit is like, you know, he has that little green dot next to his profile picture. He'll show up eventually once maybe he took a nap or something. I took a nap earlier. I took a 30-minute power nap earlier. Make that white stuff come out again. Please give the stream a like. Please help me get closer to the weekly goal. I would really appreciate it. We're going to watch a lot of fun stuff today. I was like, what am I going to talk about today? I was looking everywhere for like what to talk about today. Trying to branch out a little bit, not just do the same stuff. And then I saw Hulk Hogan's getting sued. Hulk Hogan's getting sued because a woman was injured in relation to his promotional events for his Real American Beer. So we're going to check that out. We're going to check that out right now. And it is part of today's antagonism segment. Here we go.
I should turn off the goddamn internet.
Oh, don't touch me. Don't touch me. TP, are they going to touch me?
Damn it, Shabisky. You're so unprofessional. Yeah, I don't think he's playing Elden Ring because he's not streaming. I checked his channel first because that's usually the quickest way to reach him. If he's streaming, is to pop into his chat and be like, what are you doing, dude? I don't believe he's streaming right now. So he'll show up eventually. And yes, they are going to touch you. Yeah, so check this out. This is a news story, I believe out of Cleveland, Ohio. This is from the local Cleveland, Ohio news. Here it is.
Well, controversy surrounding wrestling legend Hulk Hogan after remarks he made about Vice President Kamala Harris at an event earlier this week in Medina. So at the event at the Thirsty Cowboy on Monday evening, promoting his new beer, Hogan is seen on...
So this was back this past summer when Hogan first launched his beer. And this is where the incident happened, where the woman became injured. She was hit in the face by a full unopened beer can, which you could knock someone's tooth out. You could do some pretty heavy damage throwing a full sealed beer can at somebody. And yes, this is the event where he also said he was going to body slam Kamala Harris and questioned what race Kamala Harris is. This is the same event.
Cell phone footage that was obtained by TMZ Sports asking the crowd if he should body slam Harris before making a racially insensitive gesture and comments about her ethnicity. Medina Township police are also investigating after a woman in the crowd at that event was hit in the head with a beer can, allegedly by someone on stage, requiring 9 stitches. According to a police report, the beer was initially believed to have been thrown by Hogan, but other witnesses claim that it was thrown by another.
They're covering for him. They're covering for the Hulkster. I see right through
member
this.
Of the stage crew.
Okay, I do have a news story. See, the funny thing is that you could hear her talk about the anchor woman here. She was talking like the event was recent, but this news channel reposted this today in light of the lawsuit being announced. I do have an actual, this is on a Wrestling Rumor website. It says here, fresh off a round of spin to explain, oh shit, it's actually up here. Hulk Hogan and Real American Beer sued for negligence causing injury. Fresh off a round of spin to explain why he was booed off WWE Raw's first episode on Netflix last month. That once again he refuses to acknowledge the main reasons why people booed him. WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan has more bad publicity to deal with today, February 12th. Akron, Ohio's Fox 8, so I guess it's Akron, not Cleveland, Akron. I wonder, oh, you're joining in a minute now, huh, Shabisky? You joining in a minute, huh? How about you build a time machine and show up on time, loser? So unprofessional. Why don't you get into the DeLorean and get the 1.21 gigawatts you need to get here on time? Get some gigawatts. Anyway. So, yeah, I wonder if Cyrax was at this event. Do you think? Akron, Ohio's Fox 8 brings word that a local woman is suing Hogan and his Real American Beer Company after she was injured by a beer can thrown by Hogan or a fellow promoter at the event last August. Yeah, it's like, oh man, you want to see Hulk Hogan tonight? He's at this local bar. Really? The last thing you would think is that you're going to get hit in the head with a beer can. The suit was filed Monday and alleges negligence causing injury. The woman, Michelle, this is a Polish name. I'll say Harlukowicz, I believe is how it is pronounced. Michelle Harlukowicz says she was hit with a sealed can thrown an estimated 50 feet at an August 19th, 2024 Real American Beer promotional event. I keep looking for Shabisky to pop up. At Thirsty Cowboys, which is also named in the suit, along with the establishment's owner, Aaron Lind. The can hit Harlukowicz at her hairline and left a wound that required 10 stitches. She's going to get paid. She's going to get paid. She is going to get paid. The lawsuit claims it was Hogan or another promoter who threw the can. Medina, I think it's pronounced Medina. Medina Township Police were called the night of the incident, but did not press charges as they couldn't determine who threw it. That would have been crazy if Hogan would have gotten arrested that night. Well, I mean, when you think about like the distance, 50 feet, you know, it's like gaining in acceleration. And I mean, what's the weight of an aluminum can full of beer? I'm from Ohio, and I believe it's pronounced Medina, not Medina. We also have a Medina, Washington. That's where Bill Gates lives. Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos live there. Oh, look who decided to join us. Look who decided to join us. Boo! Boo! Shabisky! Boo!
Boobs?
No.
Yeah, boobs! Boobs!
Nope.
I agree.
I only see one boob on the screen right now.
Whoa. Whoa.
So, attorney Eric Tafel represents Harlukovich and told Fox 8 it's unconscionable to think that you're going to go to a bar to see a celebrity and end up being pelted with it with a can of beer. I that's weird. I would say being pelted with a can of beer. Anyway, she had an open wound to her forehead. It was pretty big. She ended up needing a number of stitches to her head, and she's going to have some permanent scarring from that. Whoa. So this woman went to a promotional event for Hulk Hogan's beer and got hit in the head with a beer can, and it split her wig open.
Oh, I was thinking beer bottle, so beer can, huh?
Yeah, beer can. Yeah, she's seeking damages for medical expenses, pain and suffering, and emotional distress. Tafel says they want some accountability from Hogan. He is still touring around hawking his beer. We certainly don't want to have this happen to anyone else. WWE has partnered with Hogan on Real American Beer. Neither Real American Beer nor Thirsty Cowboys responded to Fox 8's request for a comment. Yeah, so they came out on stage and they started chucking beers into the crowd. You got to be careful with that. I knew a guy who lost a tooth because he got hit in the face with a full can of Coke, you know? Yeah. Yeah, here's a little bit more on that. Oh, this is the raw footage. You don't see the woman get hit with the can, but this is from that night. They're playing Hogan's music, so I'm going to cut it up a little bit here. Because I don't want, Does he pay royalties? He does not own the copyright to that music. He says Cleveland, Ohio. They are not in Cleveland. They're in Akron. It's kind of, I mean, like, Cleveland's the closest, like, really big city, but it's still pretty far. That'd be like being in Tacoma and calling it Seattle. You know, it's not the same place. I wonder at what point the beer was chucked. Because it just kind of, it looks like they're handing out the beer. I don't see them throwing it in this video.
I want to see him chuck it like a fucking baseball.
They had, so for years, WWE Raw was always on cable TV, and they just moved to Netflix this year, and they had Hogan come out to promote the beer, and they booed the shit out of him. Like really bad. really bad. To the point where like you couldn't even hear what he was saying because they were booing him so loudly.
Why? Isn't he like really loved within?
He was, but
wrestling?
there's so many negative things that have come out about him over the years. Like there was the whole like recording of him like saying racist shit while he was banging his friend's wife. There's that.
Yeah.
There's the fact that he is aligned with Trump and spoke at the Republican convention. That's going to piss off at least half of the country. There's the fact that back in it's come out that Jesse Ventura tried to unionize wrestling, and Hogan was the one that ratted him out and like stopped it so that they couldn't unionize because he was in a position where he was making all the money back then, and if they would have unionized, there would have been less. The money would have been spread out a little more evenly, and he did not want that.
I see.
Let me see if I can find the.
Brother.
I think I have the footage of him getting booed.
Yeah. Since we talked about Budweiser and how it's stronger than Bud Light, I got some Budweiser.
Is that why you were
Not a
late?
Damn, my attention.
Yes!
Drink.
Whoa!
So unprofessional.
So unprofessional.
Thank you, your mom. That's
This is the creepy one too.
yeah, I've never seen this one.
Oh yeah, the music makes it even creepier.
Yeah.
It's like the stuff of nightmares.
That's the guy peeking through the window. All right, so in the name of your mom, it's funny, the timing was like perfect there. I just was showing that I got the beer, and then we got a tip for me to drink the beer.
It's true. It's like, true. So was that what you were doing? Is that why you were late? You were going and getting the beer?
That, and for some reason when I tried to join it. No, that too. But yeah, I was having technical problems. I had to restart my computer too.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. It's all part of the show. Everyone liked the stream also, by the way. Yeah, here's Hogan getting booed. That's his manager, Jimmy Hart, who's actually a really nice guy. I've met him before. He's a really nice guy. He's like 80 years old too.
Yeah, he looks like he's struggling a little bit.
Hogan's in his set. Hogan can barely walk. All the years of like falling and shit, he can barely walk. Look at him.
Yeah, he does look like he's struggling.
Yeah, the fucking music. Yeah, I want to. You're booing him.
It's just like, you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, you can't even hear him.
Yeah.
Known they would have got this kind of reaction.
I don't know. I think a lot of people were surprised. I think the final straw for a lot of people was him like getting political. Where, you know, like everyone's allowed to have their own political beliefs, but he could have not become like an official Trump spokesperson. I think that had something to do with it.
It's probably a big thing behind it. God, imagine getting booed like this.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're a wrestler and you're like a bad guy, like a heel wrestler, you want to get booed like that, but not when you're coming out as a good guy, especially not when you've just signed like a huge deal with WWE to like co-promote this beer and you're like the face of the beer. You're like part of the product that they're buying, you know?
Yeah, it's totally different if like it's part of the storyline and he's being a bad guy, he did something and everyone's booing and it's just part of the show. This is different. This is everybody really not liking him.
Yeah, I mean, like it's weird because they kind of forgave him for the racist shit. He like took several years off from being involved in wrestling after the racism stuff happened, and he sued because that all came out because of a leaked sex tape that was released without his permission. Basically, his buddy let him bang his wife and recorded it without him knowing it, and then leaked it. And then the website Gawker published it, and later on he ended up suing Gawker and putting Gawker out of business. You know, Gawker was like a tabloid website that would leak like dirt on people and like expose people for being gay and like that kind of shit. And he sued them with the help of a guy named Peter Thiel, who's a Project 2025 guy. Gawker exposed Peter Thiel for being gay, and Peter Thiel was like, I'm taking them out. He's like, who has the best lawsuit against Gawker? And it turned out it was Hogan, because they released a sex tape of him without his permission. So he funded Hogan's lawsuit against Gawker. Gawker went away because the lawsuit obliterated them financially. And I think Hogan getting in league with Trump, I'm sure Hogan's a Republican anyway, like a lot of rich old guys are, but yeah. I think like he was kind of like kissing the ring of the people who helped him take out Gawker is part of it. And then there's the whole anti-union thing, and there's other stuff too that we're gonna look at also. Someone behind the person filming just said, I don't like you.
Look at the cameraman. We need to get a close-up on him getting booed.
Yeah. He's dropping all these names like Macho Man and Andre the Giant. These are names that normally would get like a big pop from the crowd and they'd all cheer for it, but they do not give a shit what he has to say here. Hogan was a bad guy for a little while in the 90s, and getting booed like this would have been good for him then, but not now. That was his old school trademark, like he'd hit the ring and like tear his shirt, but now he has to like pre-tear it. He struggled to tear that. I mean, he is in his 70s, you can't expect him to be strong like he used to be, but we don't like you. Go back to Madison Square Garden. This was in Los Angeles. That's another thing. It's in one of the more left-wing cities in the country also. You suck. I never thought I'd see the day. I saw Hulk Hogan wrestle live when I was a kid, and the place went crazy for him. It was insane how much people loved him back then. So here's another controversy involving Hogan's beer. Allegedly, and this might be another lawsuit down the road. Allegedly, his company hired this Instagram model to be a spokesperson for his beer. And she claims he fired her because she was black. He saw that she was black and fired her the next day.
In a shocking development, wrestling legend Hulk Hogan has come under fire for allegedly canceling a contract with an ambassador after discovering her ethnicity.
Yeah, that's her.
Hulk Hogan recently released a new alcoholic
He's like, don't touch me.
beverage and hired several influencers to promote the brand. Influencer Essence Janai shared on TikTok that she was hired to promote Hogan's Real American Beer, but was fired the next day once Hogan realized she is black. Many are calling for accountability and a response.
Okay, and normally I'd be like, okay, do you have evidence of that? But we do have a video of him saying the N-word a bunch of times and talking about how he is a little racist and stuff like that. He admits to being racist in that video.
Yeah, I slightly remember listening to it.
Yeah.
From Hogan regarding these serious accusations. Hogan has not commented publicly on the accusation against him. Similarly, WWE has not made a public statement on the accusation. The Hulkster's most recent appearance for WWE came during an episode of Raw earlier this year.
Yeah, these were the ones they hired the next day to replace the other one. Yeah.
That celebrated 40 years of Hulkamania.
I guess they didn't have room for us on. This is from that woman's social media.
Yeah.
I wonder if they sell that beer where you live. They didn't bother selling that beer here. No one's going to buy that shit here.
This is my first time hearing of this.
The closest place they sell it here is Idaho. And that's all the way on the other side of Washington. Idaho's like all the way on the other side. So...
wonder if it's any good.
It's probably like, it says it's a light beer, so no. I wonder who makes it, if it's Pabst or if it's Anheuser-Busch. Of course it's going to be a light beer. Here's a recording of the Hogan racist rant.
I'm like the male. Well, I didn't want to go there.
Actually, I don't think this is, hold on. This is what I'm talking about. Hold on, I'm going to play it here. This is crazy what he says here. I want to pop this in over here just so we can read the transcript together. Here it is. Yeah, back in the day, he tried to like make his daughter like a famous singer. She had like one or two songs on the radio, but it didn't go very far. She did a song with, what was the guy's name? Like Bubba Sparks, I think was the guy's name.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. It would have been like, 20 years ago.
I've done everything fucking with damn day and night on the radio like a jackass, and he's working with me to make it work. He goes that you really shouldn't call every day and do the shit I do.
Hey, I think Hulk Hogan's sock account is in the chat.
Yeah, I was about to get rid of that.
Okay, he had one song after 10 months, the shit went back up and back and back. Still, implemented, but I try to be the realist, and this is your option. You got a better option. Fuck said you can get signed with fucking. I go, but right now there's nothing else. We're doing the best we can. So
here it is.
I wrote Brooke was fucking the Black and Son, where they've been hanging out. I caught them holding hands together on the tour. They were getting close. I knew before I don't give a fuck, okay? I'm not a double standard type guy. I'm a racist to a point. Yeah. Fucking weird. But then when it comes to nice people, we all are that way.
Heather Clem, that was his buddy's wife.
When it comes to nice people, you can't say. I don't give a fuck. She's already got a player underneath the ball, underneath our basketball player in the hat.
Wow.
Yeah.
The last part. Let's get a rich one.
Yeah, that's what he was just about to say.
The thing is, now they start doing these nasty emails, so someone will arrive at a relationship, and so now don't ever talk to anybody. No.
Yeah, so that was that.
What a nice guy.
Here,
what a sweet old man.
Here's he got sued back in the 80s because he injured this guy on a talk show. He injured the host of a talk show. This was back when he was huge, like physically gigantic. Check this out.
Being, I guess, combative or whatever. At any rate, to make a long story short, we do this. Hulk Hogan finally says, let's do a demonstration or something.
This guy's name was Richard Belzer. I think he died a couple years ago, but he was a comedian, and he was on. I think he was on like the Law and Order shows. I think he was on one of the Law and Order shows.
But just let me digress for a second. Before that, I had Mr. T on alone, and Mr. T comes out and he says, all the men in New York are wimps. I said, excuse me? All the men in New York are wimps? Yeah, I was in Central Park today. I beat up 3 muggers. Yeah, okay. And then I used a word that he didn't know.
It was Mr. T and Hulk Hogan were on his talk show, and they'll show a clip from it to promote WrestleMania.
I used the word exclaim, or some word. He said, I don't know that word. You know, I said, I don't know that word either, but from the street, and I learned it. And the audience went, whoa, you know, and he started pumping the thing, you know, more, and smoke started coming out of his ears. He started, you know, channeling Farrakhan. So I went to a commercial. And then Hogan comes out. So there's this tension on the set. And Hogan comes out and says, I hear when you said to my man, Mr. T, you've been giving him a hard time, just yelling at me. So finally we get out on the floor. I figured this will cool him off, do a little demonstration.
Okay. Now, the first thing
Yep, this is it right here.
you need to know about amateur wrestling.
Yes. Look how big Hulk Hogan was back then. He was gigantic.
Professional wrestling or submission holds. You just tell me, brother, when you want him to quit squealing, okay?
All right.
It's called a front chin lock.
Yeah, right now he's like cutting off the blood flow to his brain by doing this.
How about
Watch his arms just go limp.
Keep like that for a little while.
He's out.
He made me unconscious in his arm. And then he let me go. He let me drop to the floor.
Yeah, he just drops
and I was unconscious, went to the floor, hit the back of my head, blood gushing out, and I had a dream.
There was like a huge puddle of blood.
Out for 11 seconds.
Wow.
I had a dream for those 11 seconds. I dreamt I was late for the show for Hot Properties. And I was really worried. And then I woke up and I see this huge, giant, orange bleached mustache dripping. It's Hulk Hogan. You ever see that face on Mars? You know, that it's like this huge icon. And he helps me up, and blood's pouring out of the back of my head. And for some reason I said,
and now, we'll be right back after this word from you-know-who.
See all the blood streaming down the back of his... Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, if he hadn't have dropped him, if he would have just like set him down on the ground, it wouldn't have been as bad.
The doctor said, how did you do that? You were in shock. You're losing blood. So I got to show this literally was in my blood. It was on my jacket. It was on the studio floor. And so then what happened after that was I that night I was in the hospital. And I said, well, maybe I'm going to see if this is on the news, you know, just out of curiosity. Channel 2, Richard Belzer, boom. Channel 4, boom. Let's run it backwards, slow motion. Channel 5, Channel 7. Everything was like, I got 10 more stitches watching the damn thing. And then that night I had a dream. I had another dream. Yeah, this one was 12 seconds. No, I had another dream that night that my first show back would be because my head was all split open. I thought I'd have like brain damage. And anyway, we sued him. He settled out of court just before we were going to go to court. And now I have a lovely home in France called the Hulk Hogan Arms.
So it's a significant settlement?
It's all gone, but it was significant.
Yeah, he said he used the money from suing Hogan to buy a home in France. Here's a more recent account where he tells a little more of the story, where Tom Green is interviewing him.
See, that was go.
I sped it up a little bit.
But on that show, I'm sure you told the story 1,000 times, though, when you were put in the sleeper hold by Hulk Hogan.
It's called the sleeper hold, but if you look it up in the dictionary, it says "kill the Jew hold." And so what happened was I had the talk show with a lot.
He can say it because he is one.
Live show. It was 1985, and my staff came in one day and said, WrestleMania is happening, which, you know, I didn't even know what the fuck it was. And I mean, I kind of knew what it was. And they said, Hulk Hogan and Mr. T are in town, and there are people called, and they want to do the show live. And I said, you know, big fucking deal. They said, no, this will be great for ratings. I said, okay, book them on the show. So we book Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. The day before the show, you'll appreciate this, Mr. T's people, this woman calls up and says, Mr. T won't do the show unless there's 50 handicapped children in the audience.
Mr. T won't do the show unless there's 50 handicapped children in the audience. What a weird demand. Like, I heard of like Ozzy needing like all red jelly beans or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember the Tom Green live raids. I was actually on the Tom Green Webovision show as a guest, like a Skype guest back in the day, a couple times. I was like a caller. So yeah, I watched all that shit when 4chan used to troll him. I was on an episode once with Neil Hamburger, that comedian Neil Hamburger. Yeah, that was a wild time. Mudkips. Do a barrel roll. They used to troll him with all that stuff. And Andy Dick would be there sometimes. Actually, that show is what inspired Joe Rogan to start his show. Like, Tom Green was the first, like, live stream podcaster on the internet. There was no, it was pre-YouTube, it was pre-Twitch. It was like he created his own website and live streamed it himself. He was an innovator with that for sure. And he did get trolled. He would take like cold calls, like on a regular landline phone.
That sounds funny.
Yeah, I corrected myself and said I was a caller. Shut the fuck up.
50 handicapped children.
Yeah, he won't do the show. And this is the day before the show. All
right.
And I said, all right, okay. Call my staff in. And I love saying that, staff. You know, like 2 fucking people come in this shitty little office, my staff. I said, we need to get 50 kids here, you know. And this is, I said, I don't care. Just go to some school with a bus, get Hot Properties t-shirts, you know, drug the kids, but just get them here.
Yeah.
So somehow we, you know, called the school, and we got the kids with the t-shirts, you know. So we called back. You know, we got the kids, I think 37 or whatever it was, like they could count. Anyway, so we get the kids. I'm in the day of the show. I'm sitting there believe it or not, I wear makeup on television. Anyway, so I'm in the makeup room, and we're getting ready to do the show, and this woman comes in and represents Mr. T, and she says to me, we're walking on eggshells around Mr. T today because he's in a bad mood. And I said, well, fucking Ethiopia's in a bad mood. What do you mean? The guy makes $2 million a year. He's in a bad fucking mood. To myself, I said that.
He was big time then. He was on the team, right?
Yeah. You know, I said that to myself. You know, and I said, oh, okay, we'll be cognizant of that. So she leaves, and Ian, can I stand up?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So you're me, and he comes in. Now, he's got the mohawk and the jewelry.
He's talking about Mr. T coming in first. Because he, like, pissed off Mr. T, and then Hogan comes out, and then they decide to fuck with him.
And he's got this baton with a spring in the middle, and he comes into the makeup room. What am I doing? And I'm saying to myself, what genetic experiment is going awry here? You know, what the fuck is this? So, and so through his interpreters, I found out he was saying, where's my dressing room? That's what he was saying. So,
So then how did Hulk Hogan know that?
Send him back to his dressing room. I will meet your needs. He goes back. I'm still in the makeup room. Hulk Hogan comes in. Now he's 6'6", 270 pounds.
He was probably over 300 pounds at the time.
6'1", 138 pounds. And he comes in, and he goes, he's like he just got fucked in the ass by a rhinoceros. He walks like this, like so many steroids. He's so insecure about being masculine that he's perverted the very idea of masculinity through steroids and weights and like, I'm a fucking man. Well, no, you're not, asshole. You're a fucking mistake. Anyway, so he comes in.
Hogan was billed as 6'7", 302 pounds.
And he says, hey, dude, you're a funny dude. Yeah, dude, I like you. Dude, whatever, the hat on, the lane in Colorado. To myself, I said that. Anyway, so, hey, dude, you're a funny dude. We should do a movie together. Like I own a fucking studio and I could book a film right now. And I said, yeah, we should do a film together. Yeah. So finally he says, where's my man, Mr. G? I said, he's back there. So, Rhino Ass Burns goes back to his... So, dig it. Hulk Hogan's real name is Terry Bollea.
Okay.
Mr. T's name is Lawrence Tiro. So Larry and Terry were back in the dressing room. Larry and Terry were back there, and I don't know what So I come out, Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hot Properties. We got, 50 handicapped kids in the audience. We got 2 guys who were desperately trying not to be gay in the back, to myself. Anyway, so first guest, Mr. T, comes out with heart started to be, and so what I usually do when I did my show, I would write between 17 and 23 questions.
Yeah.
And I have bullet points on a card. I usually didn't refer to it, but if I needed it, I would just go boom and, so I could ask the guest. Unlike you don't need cards.
Right. Well,
you're a genius.
And we got like 30 seconds before the next commercial.
All right, so we should.
Yeah, this show was actually on TV. This was after he did the show in his living room, and I think before he started doing stand-up comedy. This was on some, like, they actually had to break for commercial and shit like that.
Yeah, I know this ends big here.
It's very big.
Yeah. How about we take a break and we'll come back and stick around. You're going to find out what happened to Richard when Hulk Hogan put him in a sleeper hold. Stick around. We'll be right back.
So, Mr. T's the first guest, right? We got to that?
Yeah.
And he still has the baton. And I'm trying to interview him.
Mr. T had this thing that bodybuilders would use to like pump up their muscles. Like a lot of bodybuilders would use it to like start like getting their muscles like pumped up. It's like a baton that you bend.
Thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mr. T had one of those.
Because it's a talk show and it's live, and you know the pressure, right?
Yeah.
So you want to be entertaining. So I said, Mr. T, which, you know, is a contradiction in terms anyway. It's like military intelligence, you know. Like, so I said, how do you like New York? You know, you just start off with that. He goes, well, I was in the subway and I beat up 5 muggers. Whoa, wait a minute. First of all, you were never in a fucking subway, A. And B, we have pretty good cops here in New York.
So here's part of the problem, and this is, in my opinion, Richard Belzer's mistake. Mr. T and Hulk Hogan showed up in character because this was the days of wrestling where like you played your wrestling character anytime you were in public, whether you had a wrestling show or not. If you were on TV or you were like in public at all, you were your character. So
yeah.
That's what Mr. T is doing. He was like, I was on the subway and I beat up muggers. That was him, and he explains that later.
This is all to myself, my inner dialogue. I said, really? You beat up 5 muggers? Yeah, I beat up 5 muggers in the subway for your city, you know. I thought, oh, that's great. Could you further, you know, more conjecture on you know what happened? And could you further elaborate? You know, conjecture. I don't know that word. I'm from the street. And I said, well, I'm from the street too, and I learned the word. And the audience went, whoa.
Right. So that's what set it off.
Well, yeah. Then
Hulk Hogan was defending Mr. T's sort of honor there.
Well, here's what happened. Okay. We went to commercial, and I said to Mr. T, I said, man, you know, relax, you know, because he was just being gruff and one-word answering and everything. I said, relax, man. And he goes, I'm in character.
I'm in character.
I'm in character. Right. Well, take me to fucking method acting prison. You're in a character? You chose to be an asshole? That's your character?
I mean, yeah. That's how it works.
To myself.
So, like, he should have realized this. He didn't. But like what happened to him is fucked up.
Comes out with fresh rhino burns on his ass, you know, horn marks. Hey, what's going on here? I saw you talking about man, Mr. T. What's going on down here? It's like he was singing scat. He could have been a job. Do it up here. I believe it. I didn't understand a fucking word he was saying. He was like, what you do, my man, Mr. T. Here? You know, we've trained all week. So I said, you know, I just remembered like Mike Douglas and Johnny going over to the demonstration area and cooking. So,
right.
So I said, let's go over here. I was just trying to
do a wrestling move.
Yeah, well, show me something about, you know. So here's where the shit happens, right? So he puts me in what they call a sleeper hold. Mm-hmm. And what it is they
cuts off the oxygen in your brain.
Carotid artery gets cut off, and my brain actually said, check please, no oxygen, I'm out of here, fuck you. So I pass out, but I'm unconscious in his arm, and what does he do? He lets me fall to the ground.
And it's on YouTube, you can see this.
Yes, and I fell to the ground like a rag doll, split the back of my head open, blood's gushing out. Yeah. I was unconscious for about 8 or 10 seconds. I had a dream when I was unconscious. I dreamt I was late for the show.
Yeah.
And
that's why you jumped up.
Well, I
said,
we'll
be right back.
Yeah, I woke up and I see this huge fucking face on Mars, Hulk Hogan with an orange mustache and sweating, and I figured, oh, this is the devil, I'm fucking dead. I thought I was dead. because here's this giant face. Right. And I got up, blood is literally shooting out of the back of me. For some reason, I said, we'll be right back. Yeah. My doctor said, how'd you do that? You were in shock. I said, doctor, I've got show business in my blood, on my jacket, on the floor.
Yeah, you can see that. You watch it on YouTube. You can see it. You hear your head hit the ground.
Yeah, long story short, I sued him.
Yeah, and now you have Chateau Hogan in France.
Yes, and we used the money. Chateau my wife Hogan. Paid all our bills, and we got a house in France.
That's amazing. So it's a happy ending.
There it is. So that's I decided to kind of throw that in because I knew there wasn't too much information about the Hogan lawsuit yet, so I wanted to go through some of that history. And the next story is also kind of wrestling related because Trump nominated Vince McMahon's wife, Linda McMahon, to be his Secretary of Education. And every cabinet member has to go before the Senate and kind of make their case, and then the Senate approves them. So Linda McMahon, I'm going to play the video. Linda McMahon sat before the Senate, and behind her was her daughter Stephanie McMahon and her son-in-law Triple H, who's been a wrestler for like 30 plus years. So it is really surreal to see Triple H in the halls of the Senate. Here it is. I can see Shane McMahon too. The only person who's not here is Vince. Vince is laying low these days. But yeah, so there's Linda up front in the red, and then sitting right behind her is Stephanie McMahon in the red, and then the bald guy next to her is Triple H. And then the guy with the gray hair a little further down, that's Shane McMahon.
Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions will please come to order. Ms. McMahon, I appreciate you coming before the committee today.
Vince McMahon was under federal investigation for several things, and then once Trump took over, it was just announced recently that they're not going to pursue charges against him. He is being sued, though, for some stuff.
You were very successful leading the Small Business Administration in President Trump's first term, and I'm glad the president has given you...
Was she successful? Didn't she step down and give it to somebody else halfway through his term? She looks crazy, by the way. She had some kind of weird plastic surgery. She looks fucking weird. Because she was actually a character in wrestling too. She was the CEO of WWE, and she was an on-screen character for a while too. But yeah, it's funny. They're making her the Secretary of Education, but what they're going to do is obliterate the Department of Education. They're giving her a job so she can destroy the department.
Opportunity to serve. You have enormous challenges. At the K through 12 level, students who were behind before the pandemic are even further behind now. According to the latest National Assessment of Educational Progress, or NAEP, reading scores among 4th and 8th graders declined 5 points since the pandemic. In math, 4th grade scores fell by 5 points and 8th grade scores fell by 8 points. The failures of the traditional K through 12 schools are leading more families to try other education options proven to help students succeed, like charter schools. The Biden-Harris Department of Education tried to take these options away from families.
Trump hasn't saved shit, by the way. Things are still getting more and more expensive. He said the prices of things would come down. There's all these things he said he would do that haven't really happened. So you guys are living in a fantasy world if you think Trump is saving anyone but himself and his oligarch friends.
They passed onerous regulations, making it harder for charter schools to apply for federal grants, impeding their ability to grow and to serve more children.
He's working on it.
No, politicians, man, I need to stop looking at the chat. No, he is not a simple politician. He is doing things that is in the long term he's going to obliterate the middle class and working class, and we're going to be serfs in a fiefdom for oligarchs like Bezos and Musk and all the people at the top.
Its bloated bureaucracy failed to improve the nation's education system, quite likely made it worse. There's been a lot of talk about dismantling the Department of Education, and I'm sure that you will be asked this today. But before we begin, I want to explain what the
if they're tired of getting robbed, they put the wrong person in there.
Department of Education actually does. On average, only about
because you're going to pay for these tariffs that he's enacting. If you're too blind to see that, I don't know what to tell you.
10% of public funds that go towards educating a child comes from the federal taxpayer. That's only 10%. 90% comes from state and local government. While the federal government accounts for a small minority of the funding, it is responsible for the vast majority of bureaucracy and red tape, preventing communities from improving educational success. I'm hearing from schools across the country that they have stopped going after federal competitive grant funding because it is not worth the hoops and red tape the Department of Education has placed on those dollars. If schools are not eager to apply for competitive grants to improve operations, something is wrong and something should change. It's not only the K through value pay off from those intended. The Biden is increasing the discussion on how
it's so weird to see Triple H. Like that's
we
so
can
weird.
Work together to improve student success and get our education system back on track. And with that, I yield to Senator Sanders, the ranking member.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mrs. McMahon, nice to see you again.
Student loan relief did not raise tax. Dude, you are suffering from internet brain rot, my friend. There was no student. I mean, like, the student loan relief hardly happened. All right, here's Barney.
Let me begin by thanking teachers all over this country. This is a very difficult time to be a teacher. And talking to teachers in Vermont, and I think teachers all over the country, what they are telling me is they are spending a lot of their times not only teaching math and English, but dealing with the emotional needs of kids. Because among other things, our kids are struggling in many, many ways. So it's a tough time to be a teacher, and I want to thank the teachers very much for the extraordinary.
So tariffs are taxes, and the tariffs are raising the prices of everything. So I don't know why you're talking about taxes being raised when literally like everything is going to cost more. Everything is already starting to cost more and more.
Work
Nothing has come down.
Especially for some of the most vulnerable kids in our country. You know, way back in 1863, as we recall from our history books, Abraham Lincoln was in Gettysburg. And he looked out on a field where soldiers by the thousands had just died in the struggle against slavery. And he talked about the need to maintain a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That was that short but very powerful Gettysburg Address. And I think in this country today, there is a growing fear that instead of having a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, we are looking at a government of billionaires, by billionaires, and for billionaires, whose job is not to improve life for ordinary people, but to make the people on top even wealthier. So in the midst of massive income and wealth inequality, where 3 people own more wealth than the bottom half of American society, the Republicans in the House yesterday introduced a budget resolution that would provide massive tax breaks to the people on top, and they would pay for those tax breaks for billionaires by cutting Medicaid, education, and programs that working families throughout this country desperately need. That is exactly the wrong thing to do. At a time when millions and millions of working families are struggling, our job is to protect those families and not worry about the billionaires who have never had it so good. But it's not just cuts in Medicaid, as devastating as that would be. We're looking at, if the Republicans get their way, massive cuts to education. And I should also say that the people...
Trump did say he loves the poorly educated. We know who voted for him.
Who are trying to privatize Social Security, privatize Medicare, privatize Medicaid, privatize the Veterans Administration are precisely the same people who are trying to privatize public education in America. We must not allow that to happen. In America, we must not allow our educational system to become a two-tier system, a system which says that if you have the money, you're going to get help from the federal government, you're going to get a voucher to send your kid to a school that may cost $50,000, $60,000 a year, while the public schools will end up being segregated not just by race, but by class. Most families in America do not have $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year to send their kids to private schools, and it's absurd to provide public money to make that possible. Our job is not to take away money from public schools to give it to private schools. It is to strengthen public education in America. Further, President Trump has talked about abolishing the Department of Education. Yes, I think everybody on this committee wants to see us go after waste and bureaucracy in every agency of government. But what we must...
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to completely burn the house down to build a new one. Like, there can be adjustments made without completely gutting the entire organization.
Understand is that when we talk about the Department of Education, they are providing vital resources for 26 million children in this country who live in high poverty school districts. Is it the responsibility of the federal government to say that every kid in America, whether you're poor, middle class, rich, gets a quality education? It is. And that is what a lot of what the Department of Education does. Department of Education provides millions of public school students who have disabilities, emotional problems, physical problems, provides them with help. It provides Pell Grants and other important financial assistance that over 7 million low-income students need to get a higher education. So the goal is not to abolish the Department of Education, it is to make it more effective and to make sure that it addresses the educational needs in this country. Mr. Chairman, in my view, we need a Secretary of Education who understands that in the wealthiest nation in the history of the world...
You're not going to get it from Trump, because Trump is just putting his buddies, his ring kissers, in positions. So Trump and Vince McMahon have been buddies for, 50 years almost. And he's taking care of his inner circle. That's what this is.
We should have the best educational system on this planet, from child care to graduate school. We need a Secretary of Education who understands that we're going to attract the best and the brightest to the teaching profession. You know what? We have to pay teachers the kinds of salaries that they deserve, which is why I've introduced legislation that says no teacher in America should earn less than $60,000 a year. We need a Secretary of Education who understands that schools do not end at 2:30 or 3 o'clock. We need strong after-school programs. We need strong summer programs. We need a Secretary of Education who understands that we've got to invest in mental health. We need a Secretary of Education who understands that we have got to fully fund the Individuals with Disability Education Act. So there are a lot of questions I have for Mrs. McMahon. I very much appreciate her being here and look forward to the discussion we'll have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Sanders. And now to introduce Ms. McMahon, we'll start with Senator Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member. Thank you, committee members, for allowing me to have an opportunity to talk about my good friend, Linda McMahon. I will say that one of the things I love about the Ranking Member is his
we know how he's voting.
Passion about the things he cares deeply about. He and I don't agree on the conclusions or the solutions, but I do believe that he is a thoughtful person who cares about the...
Bernie and Trump fight at Royal Rumble. Winner becomes president.
I don't know how well that would go for Bernie. Bernie's pretty old. That would... Well, in a Royal Rumble, there's supposed to be 30 contestants, so you gotta pick 28 other contestants.
Issues.
And you gotta be thrown over the top rope, and both of your feet have to touch the floor to be eliminated.
And I hope that doesn't hurt your re-election bid. But let me say this. I'm not a billionaire. Never have been, likely never will be.
Yeah, you're a stooge for billionaires.
But I am a kid who grew up in a single-parent household, mired in poverty.
I am a kid.
Mother worked.
Yeah, he looks like shit for being a kid. Holy shit.
2 jobs. Trying to keep the lights.
He has the reverse Benjamin Button disease.
On. Yes. I went to 4 different elementary schools by the 4th grade. When I think about the issue of education, I think about how in the world do we ever get to a meritocracy if the vast majority of the kids today are going to segregated schools that are failing those kids. 13 schools in Maryland where the average kid, 99% of the kids cannot perform at grade level. I think about...
They want a new peasant class. They want an uneducated peasant class that will work for peanuts for them.
Chicago, on the south side, where I spent a lot of time, where 95% of the kids cannot perform at grade level. I think about Charleston, South Carolina, my hometown, where 60+% of African American...
We definitely have a choice. Get your doomer shit out of here, man. It's ridiculous. We have a choice what we decide to accept.
Males don't go to college. I think about the quagmire pit of failure that is consistently the case in inner city schools across America. You talk about the resegregation of America's public schools, it's already happened. It's happening right now. Our public education spends $850 billion to disappoint families, millions of families across this country. 10% of the resources come from the federal government, and yet 80 to 90% of all the rules that suppress performance come from Washington. The average employee at the Department of Education, these numbers are...
Trump might want to cut himself out first.
A few years ago, and these unfortunately aren't part of my speech. Bernie changed my speech for me. It's about $106,000 where the average teacher makes $55,000. Those numbers are 4 or 5 years old.
Trump is the swamp.
But here's my point. My point is a simple point. I'm a guy who understands the weight of a poor education system and the benefit of a good education system because I've experienced both. I chose to introduce Linda not because I have an affinity for billionaires, though I might now, actually, because I have a passion for quality.
Weren't you sucking Trump's ass? I mean, you seem to have an affinity for billionaires.
That changes the trajectory of poor kids' lives permanently. I can't think of a more important civil rights issue today than public education and the education of our kids. I can't think of a better person to take on that challenge than someone that I had confidence when she was the administrator of the SBA. I can't think of someone better to take on this challenge than someone that took...
By the way, please like the stream if you haven't already, and we're trying to get a little closer to the goal. I'm hoping maybe we could get to like 20% tonight if you guys want to help out with a tip train. And also, after tonight's show, we're going to do a Patreon post show for all the $10 plus patrons. Also, Subscribe Star members and YouTube members of the highest tier. All of you guys will be able to watch the post show. We're gonna have some fun, watch some King Cobra stuff, and maybe some other stuff too at the end of this stream tonight. So you can sign up for that, and I'll link everybody before the stream's over too.
A regional company, WWE, and made it into the global powerhouse that it is today, then the co-founder.
Yeah, you know how they did that? They did it by making their employees, or I shouldn't say employees, their performers, the people who make the most money for them, were not employees. They were private contractors. They weren't allowed to unionize. They didn't have health benefits. Their health insurance plans were crazy, and a lot of them were dropping dead in their 40s because of it. So, yeah, they made a ton of money off of WWE because they had indentured servants basically working for them.
Under Chief Executive Linda McMahon, I can't think of someone better to do the job than someone who served on our own state board of education, who was a trustee at Sacred Heart University, and who led the policy initiatives at the America First Policy Institute. That would be
like in a profession where it was a certainty that you would get injured eventually, sometimes catastrophically. You did not have any type of health care provided by your employer. Meanwhile, this company's making billions of dollars a year. They were making billions in the 80s. So, I mean, like they've been making big money for a very long time.
Linda McMahon. I can tell you that there are a lot of questions I'd like to answer, but I don't have time.
Okay, goodbye.
But I can tell you this.
He ran for president too, like before it was like solidified that Trump was going to be the nominee. He was running, and then he started sucking Trump's ass. Okay, young RJ, enough. You're like over the top. I can tell you're just trying to troll.
For the poorest kids,
over the top
in our country.
You're. I don't know. Like, is it the internet brain rot? You don't understand how harmful tariffs are.
Disillusion.
I can't help you
about the American dream. The answers they are looking for rarely come from Washington. With all of our good intentions, the Department of Education has simply failed the poorest kids in the United States of America, the greatest nation on the planet. To turn that around, we need someone who's already succeeded in business and in government. And let me just close with this. The Department of Education doesn't educate kids. It's a federal agency. Local communities and local teachers educate kids. Our Department of Education is a federal behemoth that needs to...
Did he say behemoth? Does he mean behemoth? He said behemoth. That's an interesting way of saying it.
The internet brain rot is a direct result of No Child Left Behind. Bush stole the election.
That was a thing, though. Yeah, that was kind of like the beginning of our education system. Like, I mean, not the beginning, but it was a clear indication of what they were doing to the education system, what the conservatives wanted to do, and they're already looking at Social Security next too. That was something Bush was talking about back in the day all the time.
Focus on getting more money in the hands of more students so that they have a better chance. And yes, I do believe that competition makes your quality go up.
Competition, what does he mean?
And your cost go down. Charter schools prove that. Private schools prove that. And finally,
I don't care if it's 78%. I dispute those numbers, but even if it is 78, even if it's 90% of Americans supporting it, that doesn't mean it's right.
Pell Grants.
There was a time where most of them supported slavery too. Is like, I mean, sometimes the majority of the people don't want the right thing.
Pell Grants take public dollars to private schools. Unfortunately, poor black kids today, the vast majority, won't have a Pell Grant. Why? Because if you don't graduate from high school, if you don't have proficiency in reading, math, and science, the likelihood of you going to college is zero.
Young RJ, why are you posting the American flag? Like, you don't own, like, your views don't have like a monopoly on what's American and what's patriotic. That's another dumb shit internet brain rot thing. Yeah, I know this isn't China, and I don't want it to become one. I don't want it to become China. You're saying some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen anybody say, honestly. Is that one of your people, Shabisky?
Oh, I don't recognize him, really. He might be someone that watches me. I don't know.
We weren't on the way to becoming China. We kind of are now.
Improve our K through 12 system so that more of America's poor rural kids and inner city kids both have the experience I have of realizing their version of the American dream.
Wow, that was a whole lot of nothing.
Thank you, Senator Scott. Very powerful.
Very powerful.
Or Britt.
Well, that was amazing. Thank you. My colleague nailed it. Chair Cassidy,
Everything he said, I
Ranking
agree.
Member Sanders, and members of this committee. I am honored to join you today to introduce President Trump's
Oh my God, I remember this woman because she gave the after the State of the Union address. She had that weird, like, quivering voice.
nominee for Secretary of Education, my friend, Linda McMahon. It is clear that our current education system isn't working. We have the status quo, and that's actually failing.
It is clear, because Trump got elected.
Our kids. As you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, the latest NAEP scores show that students' reading and math scores.
It's pre-transition Elliot Page.
Oh my God, Dragon of the West, you do have some pretty good ones, I will say.
Are down in almost every single state, to the point where only 30% of 8th graders are meeting reading proficiency levels. The status quo in education just hasn't failed students. It's failed parents, just like me. And very respectfully, Mr. Ranking Member, the America that you just described, the one that you're fearful will be created, it already exists. Our students deserve.
Bernie's just like, God damn it.
Fuck you, bitch. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, bitch.
Our parents deserve better. We have to do something different in order to achieve a different result. For far too long, the Department of Education has catered to far-left bureaucrats at the expense of moms and dads. It has pushed for school closures, removed parental rights from the equation, promoted radical ideologies in the classroom, and supported allowing men and boys to play in women and girls sports. Enough.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
The biggest non-issue ever.
Yeah.
See, it's this kind of shit. And like, we got to rename mountains and we got to rename bodies of water. Yeah, we're really taking care of the important shit. And then we're gonna overturn birthright citizenship and we're gonna deport all these people that aren't doing anything wrong. It's unbelievable. And I can't understand why anyone thinks that's a good thing. They want to get rid of them so we can be the new peasant class.
Is enough. We need a change agent at the Department of Education. And that change agent
Yeah, her voice is always quivering like she's about to start crying.
Is Linda McMahon.
Oh my God.
She is the perfect antidote to what is wrong.
There's this, I wish I could play wrestling footage, but I can't. There was a storyline where Linda McMahon was like in a coma and she just like sat in a wheelchair and just like stared into space, and Vince McMahon was like making out with like other women in front of her, like the hot like female wrestlers and shit. There's one named Trish and she was like a blonde with like huge boobs, and they were all like messing around and she's like sitting in the corner like Linda and Vince don't have a normal relationship. Like they're like kind of like a business marriage. Like it's pretty clear Vince has been getting action other places for a very long time. He's being sued by a woman that he paid off to keep her mouth shut about the relationship that they had. A woman that's like my age, and Vince is like 80. So
wrong with education in this
Yeah.
country. Linda has an immensely successful track record as a business executive, as a leader of a government agency, and at the America First policy, as an America First policy advocate. She is not just an overwhelmingly qualified nominee for Secretary of Education.
Anecdote from my time in school. My peers that wanted to learn did. The ones that didn't were absent or chose to ignore work. Education system can't police children's behavior.
Of course. Huh. I didn't go to public schools. I went to private schools. But I think public education is still important. It should be available to everybody. We shouldn't make it so that someone's ability to pay or not decides whether or not they can be educated. And I don't believe in relying on homeschooling. I think that's insane.
But a nominee who can make a real difference at the department that sorely needs it. She's also a grandmother of 6 with a personal stake in the quality of our education system.
And I do want to say, like, just because I'm saying, like, I see people saying shit I think is dumb, I'm not banning any of you. Like, you can say it, and I'll disagree with it, and you can say you're dumb. The shit I think is dumb back, that's fine.
The reason kids don't see in school is because they got it all things that would keep people in school. If we had shop classes and technical training, a lot of kids would show it because that stuff's interesting.
Yeah, like I went to a private school and we didn't have shop class or anything like that. We had like some special, like we had a really nice computer lab. You know, I'm talking like mid-90s, you know? So we had some nice stuff that I found interesting. And I was interested in like social studies type classes, like civics and history and geography and that kind of stuff. And I had a lot of you could walk out of the school that I went to having almost completed your first year of college. We had like honors classes that gave you college credits. I didn't take many of those, but there were people who were like doing by the time we hit our senior year, there were a few people I went to school with that only had to go to school like half the day. They graduated early. So, but I also had to take shitty religion classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was a religious school.
She understands how important it is that our kids learn what they're supposed to, and how important it is for parents to be empowered. I'm right there with her. And that's...
See, here's the thing. I wish they would actually say so, like the Republicans here that are pro Linda McMahon, which, by the way, she's one of the lesser controversial people. She'll get in no problem. I mean, if Tulsi Gabbard's getting in and Kennedy's getting in and Hegseth, Linda McMahon's going to have no trouble getting in. But I wish that they'd actually say something. It's all just like meaningless platitudes about Linda McMahon and how great she is and all this shit. They're not really giving me reasons why she's the best person for the job, in my opinion.
Not the only mission that Linda will pursue.
They should actually explain some sort of strategy instead of just be like, she's a grandma of 6.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Who gives a flying fuck how much fucking kids her kids have? I don't care.
I think I may have missed this because I keep reading the chat and it's lowering my IQ. She does have experience on education boards in Connecticut. Have they mentioned that yet? Have you guys heard that yet?
Yeah.
Was that what Scott said? Rick Scott, did he mention that?
Was that the black guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
or Tim Scott, not Rick Scott.
He mentioned that.
Yeah.
At the Secretary of Education.
No, he didn't say that.
As a secretary. Attending a 4-year college or university is the right path for many Americans, but it's not the only one available to graduate.
I don't like the chat interaction. It gives me brain damage.
High schoolers, and Linda will ensure that students know that. Linda led efforts to empower
How about some Streamlabs interaction? I'll interact to those.
the American worker
Pay me to give me brain damage.
at AFPI, and I am confident that she will make aligning our education system and our workforce systems a priority at the Department of Education. That means strengthening 21st century skills training and job preparedness, bridging the gap between technical school programs and industries, and expanding apprenticeships and credentialing programs. Linda McMahon is someone who knows how to reform our education system so it actually prepares our kids for the future, while also empowering parents to make decisions that affect their children's lives. She has the experience as an executive. She already demonstrated her immense ability to get the government out of the way as head of the Small Business Administration. And she knows both K-12 and higher education, as my distinguished colleague, Senator Scott, said, in serving on the Connecticut State Board
All right, I'm
of
skipping through the rest of what she's saying. I want to hear.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm so happy to have them here and many friends from
Oh, shit.
Senator Britt. Ms. McMahon, now for your opening statement. And
All right, here's McMahon's opening statement.
Welcome to introduce your guest.
Thank you very much, Chairman Cassidy. Yes, I'd like to introduce my daughter, Stephanie McMahon.
Stephanie McMahon Helmsley.
Paul Levesque, her husband, and my son.
Triple H.
Shane McMahon. I'm so happy to have them here and many friends have come from far places, so I welcome
No Vince.
from having them here today and appreciate that
Oh shit! Now there's a heckler.
they're here.
Oh.
So, thank you, Chairman Cassidy, Ranking Member Sanders, and distinguished members of the committee. I'm honored to have your consideration to serve as the Secretary of the Department of Education. And I'd like to thank both Senators Scott and Britt for their introductions.
Someone's. I think they're kicking out the heckler.
Certainly. And I'd like to thank both Senators Scott and Britt for their introductions and for the opportunity to welcome my friends and family. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. I would also like to thank President Trump for his...
Triple H's head is so shiny.
Yeah.
He used to have long hair. You know what's funny? He's taking a drink of a bottle of water. What he used to do is he would get in the ring and like take a big swig of water and then like spit it out like up into the air to like into a mist. It almost looks like he's about to do that now. I was a fan of Triple H as a wrestler when I was younger.
Confidence in me to lead a department whose mission and authority were a special focus of his campaign. He pledged to make American education the best in the world, return education to the states where it belongs, and free American students from the education bureaucracy through school choice. November proved that Americans overwhelmingly support the president's vision.
You know what's weird? They made it a wrestling storyline that Triple H and Stephanie were a couple, and then in real life they became a couple because of the storyline that they made. They did a storyline where Triple H drugged Stephanie and took her to Vegas, and she married him while she was drugged. Like he took her to like one of those chapels. Huh. And then like, and she didn't remember any of it. And then they played the video of it happening and she like freaked out. And then in real life, behind the scenes, they became a couple. Triple H was dating Chyna. The wrestler Chyna, she was like all like ripped and shit. He was dating her when they first started doing this. And then he dumped Chyna for Stephanie.
And I am ready to enact it. Education is the issue that determines our national success and prepares American workers to win the future. I've been passionate about education since my earliest college days when I studied to earn a teaching certificate.
A teaching certificate? Is that like a degree? Is all you need? You just need a certificate to teach?
This has continued through my business
sounds way less important when you call it a certificate.
Yeah, like when I think of certificate, I think of like IT certifications, like A+ certification. I had a bunch of those, like A+, Network Plus, that kind of shit. Security Plus was another one.
As a Connecticut State Board of Education member,
We already talked about the Linda in a coma thing and Vince McMahon getting his jollies while Linda was in the
University
coma.
trustee and is the chair of the America First Policy Institute, which advocates for workforce development, parental choice, and accountability in higher education. I'm also a mother and a grandmother, and I join millions of American parents who want better schools for our kids and grandkids. The legacy of our nation's leadership in education is one that every person in this room embraces with pride. Unfortunately, many Americans today are experiencing a system in decline. The latest scores from the nation's report card show achievement in K through 12 math and reading at their lowest level in years. More than 2/3 of public colleges are beset by violent crime on campuses every year. And most tragically, student suicide rates have dramatically increased over the last 2 decades. We can do better. We can do better for the elementary and junior high school student by teaching basic reading and mathematics. For the college freshman facing censorship or anti-Semitism on campus. And for parents and grandparents who worry that their children and grandchildren
Do we not
are
teach
no longer taught
basic math and reading? Is that another thing?
Well, it's been a while since I've been in school, but that's what they taught.
I don't know. It's like, dude, she's probably not gonna go into great detail on how she's gonna change things and all that. That just sounds, I don't know. That just sounds silly. Like, obviously they're learning basic math and English.
Yeah, and even though I went to private schools, we had like state proficiency tests to make sure our schools were actually teaching us what they thought we needed to learn. So
American values and true history. In many cases, our wounds are caused by the excessive consolidation of power in our federal education establishment. So what's the remedy? Fund education freedom, not government-run systems. Listen to parents, not politicians. Build up careers, not college debt. Empower states, not special interests. Invest in teachers, not Washington.
They always want to take it back to the states.
Bureaucrats. If confirmed as secretary, I will work with Congress to reorient the department toward helping educators, not controlling them. My experience as a business owner and leader of the Small Business Administration, as a public servant in the state of Connecticut, and more than a decade of service as a college trustee has taught me to put parents, teachers, and students, not bureaucracy, first. Outstanding teachers are tired of political ideology in their curriculum and red tape on their desks. And that's why school choice is a growing movement across the nation. It offers teachers and parents an alternative to classrooms that are micromanaged from Washington, D.C. We should also emphasize career-focused education, especially in cutting-edge STEM fields, where American companies need high-skilled employees. Our workers deserve more post-secondary pathways, career-aligned programs, apprenticeships, and on-the-job learning, and jobs in tech, skilled trades, and healthcare for non-college degree holders. Those who do attend college deserve transparent costs and courses of study aligned to workforce demand. The United States is the world leader by far in emerging technologies like AI and blockchain, and we need to invest in American students who want to become tech pioneers. We should encourage innovative new institutions, develop smart accountability systems, and tear down barriers to entry so that students have real choice and universities are not saddling future families with unsurmountable debt. We must protect all students from discrimination and harassment. And if I am confirmed, the department will not stand idly.
She'll get confirmed. They're all getting confirmed.
While Jewish students are attacked and discriminated against. It will stop forcing schools to let boys and men into female sports and spaces. And it will protect the rights of parents to direct the moral education of their children. The opportunity before us these next 4 years is momentous. I look forward to working with the committee.
Yeah, there should be
moral education of our children.
There should be like a base level college that is free or like way cheaper than what is available now. And then if you can afford to go to Harvard and get into Harvard, then you can pay for that shit. But there should be like a base level of like of secondary school and post-secondary education that's just available to everybody. Either that or we need to cap tuition. It goes up every semester. And the whole like book scam, that needs to end too. Like if I pay tuition for a college course, the book that I need to pass the course should be included in the price. I shouldn't have to buy the book as well, and then like that book is worthless at the end of the semester. That's ridiculous.
Our nation's parents, teachers, and students, and education leaders from all political perspectives to build a better future for every American learner. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you today, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, they like edit a paragraph in the book, and then all of a sudden you can't use it anymore. That's why they come up with a new edition. Like twice a year, there's a new edition. And by the way, we all have like phones and tablets and laptops and shit now. They don't have to print these books. You know, I can get the book on my phone, and if they need to do a revision, they can just update it. Just like the software, like all the apps on my phone update automatically. It's a fucking racket.
I shall begin.
Yeah, and they charge out the ass for the books too, don't they?
Everybody's rightly focused on the fact that we have a problem with reading scores, and they've been anchored where they are for quite some time, with an incredibly high percentage of children not reading at grade level. And the old kind of truism that kids learn to read by grade 3 or 4 and they read to learn thereafter. But they're not learning to read by grade 3 or 4. So that said, dyslexia, according to NIH kind of reviewed literature, affects 20% of our population.
That's a lot.
Those 20% learn to read differently, and if their differences are not acknowledged, then they will be among those, almost an anchor holding reading scores down. Now, it would just intuitively make sense to diagnose the child with dyslexia as early as possible. Most states do not screen. That said, you can see where I'm going with my own thoughts. But what would be your approach to addressing the issue of dyslexia, which is frankly ignored, not in a state like New Hampshire, where Governor Hassan actually put in such programs, but in other states? What would be your approach to make sure that the child who's dyslexic is diagnosed at an early stage and receives the intervention that she or he would need to receive?
Well, thank you very much, Chairman Cassidy, and I know this is a very sensitive subject for you, since I believe it is your son that does have dyslexia, as you and I discussed when I visited with you in your office.
My daughter, but that's
I'm sorry, it's your daughter. But I certainly very much would like to be sure that we are looking to diagnose issues like dyslexia early, because we have found that it can be turned around. So I'd like to work with you and understand how we could have better approach for that in our school systems.
Yeah, I always kind of thought the Toys R Us logo was kind of making fun of kids with dyslexia.
You had mentioned that you would not tolerate the...
All right, I want to skip to... I think Bernie's up next. All right, here we go. So someone who's actually going to, like, challenge what she says.
When we talk about education, kind of we're looking at it in a vacuum. We're talking about the struggles that low-income kids are having, and that's true. But Mrs. McMahon, you are also aware that in America we have more income and wealth inequality than we've ever had before. You are aware that we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth. You are aware, I suspect, that teachers are dealing with kids who are literally homeless, kids who come from dysfunctional families where there is violence. Does it concern you in America that we are living in a society where the people on top are doing phenomenally well, while 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck? And how do you think that impacts our educational system?
Thank you very much, Senator, for that question. First of all, let me say that I believe that teaching is one of the most noble professions that we have in our country, and we have so many good, dedicated teachers to help our students. I do think that we are trapping students often in low-performing schools, and that's why the president has such a strong policy towards school choice.
But you will agree, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you will agree that you can't just look at education. The truth is that middle class, upper middle class public schools in America generally do pretty well. But if you are homeless, if you were a homeless person and you had kids the odds of your kids doing pretty well are not good. I'm just asking you, what do you think about the massive level of income and wealth inequality, the fact that we have the highest rate of childhood poverty? Is that something you think you might want to pay attention to?
Well, certainly, Senator, I do believe that we want to make sure that every child in our country has the opportunity to have equal access to a quality education. And the Department of Education really is not setting economic policy in the country.
Well,
we should focus on educating our children, and we should focus on it at the local level.
let me ask you this. You mentioned correctly that we have many great teachers in America, right?
Yes.
If you as a businesswoman wanted to attract the best and the brightest, would you be starting them off after they leave school, maybe $50,000, $60,000 in debt with salaries of $35,000 or $40,000? Or would you say, we respect, you talked about teaching being the noblest profession. I agree with you. Would you agree with me? Support my legislation?
Because not only are they trying to teach kids, they're basically babysitters too. Like, parents depend on their children going off to school so that they can go to work. That kind of thing. I remember when the schools were shut down, people were freaking the fuck out.
That says no teacher in America should earn at least $60,000 a year.
Well, certainly the pay to teachers is up to the states where those teachers reside. I do believe we should pay our teachers fairly. They spend so much time with our students, and they should be well compensated for their job.
Paying them fairly, nobody in the world will disagree with you. I mean, the question is, if teaching is a noble profession, if teaching is an important profession, you know, should we be paying them salaries commensurate with the value that of the work that they are doing? So I'm asking you a simple question. Would you recommend to states, as the leader of education in America, that teachers at least make $60,000 a year?
I would certainly recommend to states that teachers be paid what is commensurate with the kinds of...
My teachers, and again, I went to a private school, but I remember like some of my teachers during the summer worked like as like waitresses at Applebee's and shit like that. You know, like they had to supplement their income. They didn't just hang out all summer and just like sip daiquiris by the pool or anything like that.
Jobs.
They were working like lower level part-time jobs
that are part of their states. Not all states have the same living costs. Not all states have the same ability to pay teachers, but to attract really good teachers and to keep them, we should definitely pay them commensurate with the job performance that they are undertaking.
Millions of young people, low-income people, are finding it very difficult to afford to go to college, and they're leaving school $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 in debt. Pell Grant program provides assistance to over 7 million low-income young people in this country.
As of February 2025, the average salary for a teacher in Washington State is $52,767 a year. That's not enough to get by. Maybe I should look up the Seattle area because Washington's a big state.
Can you guarantee to us, if you are made a Secretary of Education, that no student in America...
It's only a little bit higher. It's $65,223 per year. Medium income in Seattle. Yeah, it's like... It's right at the... Well, this is for 2022. It's about the same, but it's the median income for 2022. I wonder... Okay, yeah, it's the projected median income for the Seattle area in 2025 is $76,000. So they're making well below the median income.
Will lose their Pell Grant as the department is dismantled.
Certainly, the defunding is not the goal here. The continuation of Pell Grants, I'd actually even like to see an expansion of Pell Grants. I'd like to see short-term certificates for Pell Grants for students who aren't going on to four-year.
Okay, Mr. Emo Taco, I think you're a troll because you're just saying like the same dumb shit over and over again. Teachers don't just sit around the 2 months that school isn't in session and like not need to work. They usually work different jobs during when school is out for the summer. It's not like they just sit around and have a vacation the whole time.
Universities who could have the opportunity to use Pell Grants for skill-based learning.
All right, so what I'm hearing you say is Pell Grant program will continue under your administration.
Yes.
Okay.
$60,000 in one place won't do so well in another place. Do you think like wherever you are is just the center of the universe and like enough money there is the same as enough money anywhere else?
Senator Cassidy asked you an important question, and that is, do you agree? And let me just once again get your feelings on this. That if there is a movement to abolish the Department of Education, it has to go through the United States Congress.
Okay, so we just shouldn't have any teachers in places where it's more expensive to live. Great take, dipshit. You're a fucking idiot. So, like, people who underpaid teachers just shouldn't live where they don't get paid enough. And we just not have any teachers. Like all of the people that work for peanuts, they just shouldn't live there.
Yes,
just
it
move.
Is set up by the United States Congress, and we work with Congress. It clearly cannot be shut down without it.
What a dipshit.
Senator Collins.
Thank you. Welcome. First of all, let me say I was very...
It's their decision. Not everyone gets to decide where they live.
Please.
Come on, guys. Come on. You guys are fucking stupid.
To hear your strong commitment to enforcing the Office of Civil Rights jurisdiction over the many incidences, horrible incidences
Just don't live there.
of anti-Semitism that we've seen on our college campuses. Among the important programs that are administered by the Department of Education are Title I, IDEA, and the TRIO programs, all of which have been high priorities for me. I want to briefly discuss those programs. Title I helps public schools that are serving low-income students. It helps level the playing field in terms of resources compared to more affluent communities. In Maine, 63% of our public schools receive Title
She sounds like a female RFK Jr.
I funds. Very important to our state. Second, IDEA, the Disabilities in Education Act, which helps children with special needs. Maine receives more than $65 million to support K through 12 students.
Are you underpaid for the cost of living where you were born or where you just ended up living? Just move.
With special
If people followed that philosophy, there'd be all kinds of places with without enough people to even keep society going.
Education needs. I would note that that falls far short of the 40% that was promised when the legislation was passed in the 1970s. TRIO programs, which we've discussed, have changed the lives of countless first-generation students who are going to college and come from families with no
Not everyone gets to choose where they live. You're a fucking idiot.
Experience with higher education. I've seen so many success stories as a result of TRIO. So my question for you is, how do we maintain the
Looks like she's wearing a
administration?
dog collar.
Yeah, that is an interesting necklace. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. That does not look like old lady jewelry. It looks, yeah, that is kind of weird.
And oversight of these programs, if we abolish or substantially reorganize the Department of...
There's plenty of people that want to move to other places and can't because they realize that it would be exceptionally difficult to make it to where they wanted to move. And then there's plenty of people that try to move places and can't cut it there.
Education.
Not everyone gets to choose where they get to live. You think people that live in like the slums get to choose?
Thank you.
If it was as easy as just choosing to live somewhere else, all of the like really bad neighborhoods would just be empty. No one would live there.
Senator Collins, and I know how passionate you are about these issues, and I enjoyed meeting with you in your
All right,
office
I'm done
and
with
talking
you.
about
Bye, asshole.
these various things, especially I think the TRIO program, which we both agreed was just hit a terrible blow just by regulation when some of the students who were applying, their applications were rejected simply because of spacing on a form.
Right.
And that kind of regulatory control just cannot stand. That is just impossible. The Title I programs that you've been discussed will continue to be appropriated through Congress. Today, they go directly to the State Department of Education and then are distributed to the districts. Not looking to defund or reduce any of those amounts. IDEA is the same, but might it be better served in a different agency?
Yeah, like if you're just saying dumb shit just to troll and you like act like perfectly reasonable shit just doesn't make sense, then yeah, you should just get the fuck out of here. Like I'm like that shit's just dumb.
I'm not.
The fact that you think everyone just chooses where they live, everyone lives somewhere because they chose to live there. RJ, you're one step away from it, dude. Because the amount of hard work you do has nothing to do with how far you can get in life. There's so many people that are ahead of everyone else, and the amount of how hard they worked had nothing to do with it.
Sure, it started at HEW, and the concerns for disabilities and health issues with students may very well rest better within an agency that has more oversight of all of those. So I think if I am confirmed to be able to get in and assess programs, how they can have the best oversight possible, how we can really take the bureaucracy out of education and focus on teaching our children to read and to do math and to appreciate our history is certainly my goal.
Appreciate our
and would be my
history.
goal as the Secretary of Education.
Thank you. On Monday, the administration announced that the Department of Education was going to terminate 89 contracts from the Institute of Education Sciences. They were worth $881 million, as well as terminating 29 training grants. This week, my office heard from a former teacher from Oakland, Maine, who has developed a high-impact tutoring model, and it's currently being used in 12 schools in Maine alone, and she has one of the grant applications pending to more thoroughly evaluate the impact of this model.
Some of the people that work the hardest make the least amount of money. And there's no amount of hard work that would make up for that.
On the student.
It's such a myth, it can easily be demonstrated that that's not true. So if you're just refusing to acknowledge that, then either you're playing a game or you're just really fucking dumb.
Students' outcomes. She's worried that it's now going to be in jeopardy due to these sudden cuts. Considering the poor reading and math scores reported by NAEP, and that unfortunately includes poor scores in my home state, shouldn't the Department of Education continue to collect data and evaluate outcomes rather than halt these activities so that you can help states know what works?
Well, thank you, Senator. And it is my goal, if I am confirmed, to get in and assess these kinds of programs, because I'm not sure yet what the impact of all of those programs are. I know that there are many worthwhile programs that we should keep, but I'm not yet apprised of them. I want to study them. I'd like to get back and talk to you more and to work with you. I look forward to working with this committee and all of Congress to make sure we can deliver for our
another heckler.
Education.
There's people that came in there just to heckle at the right time.
Thank you. I appreciate your responses.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That wasn't very contentious. She was very polite. It's two old ladies talking. I can't even, like, the hecklers, I might even agree with what they're saying, but I can't hear what they're saying. It's kind of a waste of time. They're just causing a disruption, and I can't hear what they're saying. So, I don't know.
The committee will come to order.
No more charter schools. I heard that.
Murray.
Thank you, Ms. McMahon. Elon Musk's DOGE staffers have reportedly set up camp at the Department of Education. They've already been given access to highly sensitive student data and have already started holding back money that Congress...
This is my senator, Patty Murray. She's been in the Senate. I think she might even be she might have been in there longer than any other person in the Senate.
Decided
Not
on
sure.
a bipartisan...
Or as far as a woman is concerned, I think she is.
...basis was needed to help our schools and students. We're also hearing, as you know, about an executive order coming any day that will seek to dismantle the Department of Education. These are bipartisan laws. You indicated that you understood that Congress has passed these laws, but a lot of turmoil is happening. You heard it from my colleague just asking that question now. So I want to ask you, if confirmed, do you commit to getting every dollar we have invested in our students and schools out to them?
Well, the appropriated dollars and those monies that are passed by Congress, yes. I have no issue, however, with the fact, and I believe the American people spoke loudly in the election last November to say that they want to look at waste, fraud, and abuse in our government. So DOGE, there are a couple of implants at the Department of Education.
There's a couple of implants sitting next to Triple H right there. Stephanie McMahon used to be like almost flat-chested when she first got into wrestling, when they first started showing her on TV, when she was probably like 20 years old or whatever. And then all of a sudden, like one day she shows up and her boobs are just like huge. She got like a mega boob job.
There are with agencies throughout the district, and they're doing an audit.
Right,
You know,
I
and
understand
and
an audit, but when Congress appropriates money, it is the administration's responsibility to put that out as directed by Congress, who has...
Small towns can't function without the big cities. Just putting that out there. Like, the big cities are the economic engines of pretty much every state. And the small towns only really exist as satellites of the big cities.
Power of the purse. So what will you do if the president or Elon Musk tells you not to spend money Congress has appropriated to you?
We will certainly expend those dollars that Congress has passed, but I do think it is worthwhile to take a look at the programs before money goes out the door. It's much easier. It is much easier to stop the money as it's going out the door than it is to claw it back.
The process by law is that you look at that, you make recommendations to Congress, and we implement those laws. So, I mean, the question really is, who decides how much federal funding public schools get in Seattle, where it's already been allocated? The school district or Elon Musk or Congress? And I think Congress has been pretty clear that the purse lies here. We pass our appropriations bills. We expect those programs to come. If you have input, if you have programs you have looked at that you believe are not effective, then it is your job to come to us, explain why, and get the support for that. Let me move on. Ms. Mann, I believe that our nation's...
I should call her Miss Man. Yeah, here's what I'm talking about. Here's a before and after picture of Stephanie. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Students, families, and taxpayers do want true accountability. They do want improvement in our schools. Back in 2015, Congress came together in a bipartisan way to replace the No Child Left Behind Act with the new law, Every Student Succeeds Act. That was a bill I was very proud to negotiate with my...
I will say, like, young RJ, been around a little bit, like a couple months now. And young RJ has contributed to the show, and I appreciate that, but they are saying some really retarded shit today. It's real. I don't know if they're drunk or like what's going on, but it's like they're acting like they're too dumb to understand anything anyone else is saying to them, and then just saying the same shit over and over and over again.
My Republican counterpart on this committee passed it into law. It gives states more flexibility in using their federal education.
I think it's internet brain rot and probably like an isolationist mentality.
Funds. It eliminated those one-size-fits-all mandates that everyone hated, and it established some really strong federal guardrails to hold states and schools accountable. I believe that the Department of Education must do more to implement that law. Right now, less than 42% of our schools identified for comprehensive support and improvement, or CSI as we call it, had a plan that met all the requirements of that law. And 1 in 5 schools' plans included practices we know are ineffective. National assessment results, as you well know, released a few weeks ago, show that our lowest performing students continue to fall furthest behind. So I want to ask you, what specific actions will you take to implement the ESSA law? I'm not looking for an exhaustive list, but can you name a couple of the requirements that are in that law that you will make sure are implemented?
Well, Senator, thank you, and I would look forward to working with you in the committee, understanding more about the ESSA laws.
Do you know what the requirements are? Do you know about the...
Okay, yeah. So Patty Murray here is demonstrating that she doesn't really know the ins and outs of things she's going to have to handle if she gets the position, to demonstrate that she's not qualified for this position. I don't think she is. She did work for Trump 4 years ago, and she was the Secretary of Small Business, and that kind of seemed to fit better since she was like the CEO of a company and had a small business that became a big business, that kind of shit. At least I disagree with the way she went about it, but she at least seemed qualified. She's been a member of like a board of education, but I don't think she's ever actually worked in education.
Requirements for targeted support improvement schools, or the annual report card requirement. Can you name any of the requirements?
Yes,
that are in that?
I have read through ESSA, and I do know it's very interesting. It's how I really got into education in the first place, was when No Child Left Behind was in place.
But there are no requirements that you can tell me right now that you will make sure, as Secretary of Education, you will implement?
No, I want to study it further and get back to you once that, and I'll be happy to do that.
She is such a bullshitter. She is such a bullshitter.
You'll see that
Look
a
at
lot.
that look on her face right there. That fucking screenshot. It's like, fuck you, bitch. I'll dance around your question and not answer it all I want.
That's what I saw during a lot of these hearings with Tulsi and RFK and all of them. But there's more Republicans in the Senate than Democrats, so they're all getting confirmed. Even the most controversial one, Pete Hegseth, still got confirmed. They needed a tie-breaking vote by the vice president because there's 100 members of the Senate, so they can have a tie because there's an even number of them. And when that happens, the vice president has the tie-breaking vote. So it was 50-50. So then J.D. Vance came in and voted for the tiebreaker.
Let me ask one last question. As I mentioned, DOGE staff have been given access in the Department of Education to personal information of students and families, like their social security numbers and their driver's license numbers and their date of birth, what college they're enrolled in. I know that the access has been temporarily paused due to litigation, but there is a real potential for that kind of information to be abused, or for students' privacy to be placed.
Linda McMahon ran for public office twice and lost both times, too. This is the only way she can get a job in the federal government, is being appointed by Trump.
Jeopardy if the courts end up ruling against the students. And we know that DOGE could use that highly personal information to then target students and target their families, or cut off access to Pell Grants for students at college that someone perceives opposes maybe President Trump policy. So I want to ask you, do you believe that DOGE employees should have access to private student data?
It is my understanding that DOGE employees have been onboarded as employees of the Department of Education, and therefore they operate under the restraints of utilizing access of information, and they're constrained by
That is not our
that.
understanding, and I have to tell you.
That's my
it's
understanding.
Deeply concerning that we have DOGE staffers, we don't know who they are, they're not held accountable.
Yeah, it's weird. There's like anonymous employees of Elon's DOGE department gaining access to taxpayer data and this stuff Patty Murray is talking about here. It's crazy. It's pretty crazy. I think one of their names was Big Balls or something like that. I think a few of the DOGE employees got doxxed and Elon was like, "You have just broken the law" on Twitter. Yep.
Yeah, I like this chick.
Patty Murray.
Yeah, she seems like her and God, I can't remember, Bernie. Like probably they seem like the two smartest people in the room so far.
Yeah, and they're among the older people too.
About getting access
Yeah.
to students' private information. I think that should frighten everyone.
Well, again, I'm not there
Thank you,
yet.
Madam Chair.
So I'm not there yet, but it is.
Oh yeah, and Big Balls allegedly is 19. So we've got 19-year-olds working for Elon to like spy on government data. It's crazy.
It's my understanding that they are onboarded.
Vince is not going to show up anywhere near this because he was under federal investigation until recently, and he's being sued for I don't know what the literal like civil legal term of it is, but one of his former employees that he paid to keep her mouth shut about their affair is suing him for like sexual assault and sex trafficking. She claims that he hired her to work for him so he could kind of like pimp her out as like a company benefit to like other people, and like he tried to give her to Brock Lesnar as like part of his contract and shit. There's all this stuff. I mean, we'll see in court what evidence they have, but I mean, one thing that's for sure, and this is why Vince McMahon was basically fired and had to sell most of his WWE stock, is that he used company money to pay this woman to keep her mouth shut, and then it came out. And honestly, I'm surprised that Triple H, being his son-in-law, still works there.
I hope if you do get there that you make sure that students' private information is not given to someone who's no idea what they have, or we have no idea how they're using it. Thank you.
Senator Husted.
Some of the hardest workers struggle the worst.
Thank you. Ms. McMahon, congratulations on your nomination.
Thank you.
Look forward to your confirmation, hopefully, and working with you on what is arguably one of the most important.
All right. So I think we've watched most of this. This is really long, so I don't want to watch the whole thing. But
yeah.
I'll look for some highlights. Oh, God.
We probably saw the best part of it.
Yeah,
To me,
yeah.
That was the best part when she got called out.
Yeah, for not even knowing how things work there.
And then and it's like, no wonder Trump likes this bitch. She's such a good bullshitter.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so stupid that that's what people want. People want to vote for people that are good at bullshitting and never showing any sort of weakness ever, or like that they're wrong about anything. Like they're never wrong.
What Trump wants is people who are loyal to him and are willing to take the fall for him if he needs them to, and people who validate his ego. That's a big thing. Trump has a huge ego, and you can't question if it's valid. You have to assure him that it's valid, and people in the past who have gone against that have taken the fall hard for him. So, and he's known Linda and Vince McMahon since the early 80s, maybe even like mid 70s. And some of the early WrestleManias were at Trump's casino in New Jersey, in Atlantic City. Yeah, if you go and watch some of the early WrestleManias, you can see Donald Trump and his son Eric, who's like a little kid at the time, sitting in the front row, like ringside for it. Same thing with a lot of the early Mike Tyson fights when Mike Tyson was the world champ. Donald Trump is in the front row for a lot of those fights. You can see him like sitting there. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I have this other thing which is weird. It's Milo Yiannopoulos on Tim Pool's podcast calling out Dave Rubin for taking money from Russia, not realizing that Tim Pool was also involved in that.
Ooh.
Yes. Yes, and Milo's trashed. So we'll see what this is all about. Here it is.
Credit. No, I'm saying in general,
Milo's weird mullet.
Big picture.
No, they know exactly where the money's coming from. Dave Rubin knew where the money was coming from when it was coming from Russia. He used it to buy his children.
He's like tweaking.
It is 100% false.
Here it is.
And you know that ropes me into it, and I can verify it's 100% false.
All right.
Completely.
He's like, oh shit.
Untrue.
It is so,
and this is important big picture stuff because USAID is funneling money into NGOs.
It's irresponsible in the extreme to the point of
look. There's like 2 bottles next to Milo too. You can see the glass of wine sitting there.
Yeah.
Milo's probably on something and drunk.
Yeah.
He's wearing sunglasses inside.
Yeah. I don't know. His style has changed a lot since last time I saw him, it seems.
Ludicrous negligence to not know where hundreds of thousands of dollars are coming from. To not even ask.
And that's not the story at all. So if you knew what you're talking about, maybe it'd sound smarter.
All right.
Whoa.
Well,
but clearly, as the story has already been reported and you haven't read any of it, which involves me, which I find particularly insulting, is that certainly Dave, I, as well as Benny, did ridiculous due diligence in digging and trying to figure out.
Okay, he's talking about, oh God, what's his name? Benny. God, what's his last name? Okay, the guy that he's talking about here, I can't remember his last name right now. He did work for Russia because he hosted a show on RT that me and Billy the Fridge were on like years ago. Benny Johnson. Yep, that's his name. Benny Johnson. And I was contacted by these Russian people to be on that show.
RJ has Sturgis level intelligence talking points. You said you don't have a college degree? Yeah, it shows. Maybe you should go get one. Being around smarter people might rub off on you. Dipshit. Now shut up and fix my plumbing, Mr. Boots Tap.
Oh my God.
What the source of the revenue was beyond your typical ad deal. So
shots fired. All right, RJ, time to send in a dono hitting back. We need dono battles here. That's what I need here.
When I get an ad sale person who comes to me and
trying to get to 20% during this stream
says this company
I didn't remember that you were involved in that.
This company
I didn't remember you were involved in that.
wants to sell, they want to buy $100,000 in ad reads over this amount of time. No one.
I'd be like, that's a lot of money to read an ad. Where is this coming from? I'd be happy about it, but I'd be like, where is this coming from? You know?
Anywhere in media says, tell me who their investors are, get me on the phone with him. And when this stuff went down, Dave, Benny, I, and many others said, we want to know what this is all about. Who is this involved with? And when you get a prominent conservative personality based out of Nashville with an American company and says, here's the investors, they're going to talk to you, explain it. Here's the proof. We go, okay, well, like a prominent conservative personality is running a company out of Nashville.
Lauren Chen.
Lauren Chen.
Was she a prominent personality?
Certainly was.
Yeah, she was pretty well known. We had Lauren Chen and Styx Hexenhammer on Drunken Peasants on the same episode. That was pretty wild.
Hundreds of thousands of followers on the Blaze. Everybody knew she was, and she had a story, and so we did some digging.
I've heard of her before this.
And so this is the point.
All right, I didn't remember you.
This is the big
I didn't remember you were a victim of
right.
that. So I apologize for casting aspersions if that was your impression.
So to imply,
I didn't remember you were a victim of that. But
a victim. Oh, now because he was calling out Dave Rubin for being a scammer, but now he's like, oh, you're a victim of that. You're a victim because Russia paid you millions of dollars to run ads for them. Oh, RJ,
I wanna be
pull
there
yourself
next
up by your fucking bootstraps and send a dono talking shit to that person talking shit to you. Sorry.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
I don't even know. I got thrown off.
Sorry.
I don't remember what I was saying, but yeah, I don't know. I want to get to his level though. I want to get the sunglasses level.
Sunglasses indoors level.
Yeah, and calling out people and getting in trouble.
Work harder, RJ. Work harder, and move to a cheaper place. Move to rural Nebraska or something.
Now, let's go to the big picture on USAID and other NGO funding. Now, certainly that affects us. When someone, I'll say it again, we right now have probably, 30 advertisers who've come to us and wanted to buy ads, and we said, we're in a holding pattern right now doing negotiations. They're offering us $50,000, sometimes for one ad read. One ad read, one company says, we'll give you $50,000 to promote our company.
$50,000 for an ad read is insane.
Yeah.
Insane. Like back in the heyday of DP, 2015, 2016, they'd pay us for like a whole month's worth of ad reads, and maybe we'd make like $10,000 off of it for like a whole, not for like a single ad, like one ad every show for like a month,
Yeah, and that's really good.
It was good.
50 grand for
50 grand for one ad is insane. But like Tim Pool does have a huge listener base, so I wouldn't be too surprised. Well, one ad is a little bit. Like if they were like, oh, we want to buy 6 months of ads, we just want you to run this ad, mid-roll in the middle. I could see that.
Do we say, I want the CEO on the...
We ran all kinds of ads back in the day. Go look. You're asking what ads we ran? We ran all kinds of ads back in the day. Casper Mattress, Blue Apron, Vegas.com. God, Casper Mattress, I got a free king-size mattress out of the deal, too.
Wow.
Yeah, they'd send me cool stuff. Like they'd send me their product to try it. I got a free Blue Chew. That wasn't that long ago. Movement watches. That was another one. I got a free watch, and we got like a ad campaign for Movement watches. Raid Shadow Legends. We did that, but that was like an affiliate link where we only got paid if people used our link to download the game. But there were some where we got paid in advance and to do the ad read, and they would tell us if it was a pre-roll or a mid-roll or a post-roll. There was a bunch of them. We did tons of them over the years. So
yeah, I remember some.
I want to know who funded them. I want to know where that funding came from.
Nobody does that, but that wasn't quite...
And Audible was an affiliate program. We didn't get paid in advance for that. We got paid every time someone signed up for Audible.
This is the point when I say about David Pakman, and you say I'm being too nice. I'm saying when we know those things happen, take a look at where USAID was giving their money and see how much of those NGOs were buying ad reads in media, because they are.
Bombas socks. Yeah, we also had Stance socks. We did, there was I can't remember the name of it right now, but we did these protein bars that were made out of crickets. But cricket protein bars.
Yeah. Sounds familiar.
Yeah. It was Omaha Steaks. That was another one we did. Omaha Steaks.
You're not going to like this, but to take money from somebody so obviously ludicrously insubstantial as Lauren Chen and not ask more questions seems stupid to me.
Except there were questions asked.
Tim Pool is running so hard from this.
I don't want to continue this because I'm not trying to attack you. I didn't remember that.
Ha! It's I want to attack these other people for doing it, but I don't want them to attack me. MeUndies was one. Mac Weldon, that was another one. I got I don't want to give the exact amount, but I got a whole new wardrobe from Mac Weldon too, for free, and I got paid to push their shit. So that was pretty good.
I remember MeUndies.
Yeah, we did MeUndies. We did Stamps.com. There was a bunch of them. If you go back through the older shows, you'll see them. Sometimes we got paid to like promote other podcasts. That kind of shit. We're not putting up the big numbers that we were back then, so I'm not getting all the brand deals that I used to get back in the day. But when we were putting up like huge numbers back in the day, when we were like in the iTunes like top 10 podcasts for a few months, that's what, you know, we were doing pretty well. Oh yeah, yes, we did do NHTSA, the National Traffic whatever. Yeah, we did these like don't drink and drive this holiday season. We did that too.
I do not.
Oh, here's this is really interesting. This is Bernie Sanders addressing the impending oligarchy.
I do not often find myself in the habit of thanking Elon Musk, but I must confess that he has done an exceptional job of demonstrating a point that a few of us have been making for years, and that is the reality that we live in an oligarchic society in which billionaires dominate not only our politics and the information we consume from media, but our government and economic lives as well. That has never been clearer than it is today. But given the news and attention Mr. Musk has been getting over the last few weeks as he illegally and unconstitutionally dismantles government agencies, I think it is an appropriate time to ask the question that the media and most politicians don't seem to be asking. What do he and other multi-billionaires really want? What is their endgame? In my opinion, what Musk and those around him are aggressively striving for is not novel, it is not complicated, and it is not new. It is what ruling classes throughout history,
robber barons,
have always wanted and have always believed is theirs by right. More power, more control, and more wealth. And they don't want ordinary people, that's you, and democracy getting in their way. They want it all. Elon Musk and his fellow oligarchs believe government and laws are simply an impediment to their
Please like the stream, by the way. Please.
Interests and what they are entitled to. In pre-revolutionary America, before the 1770s, the ruling class governed through a doctrine called the divine rights of kings. The belief that the King of England was an agent of God and he was not to be questioned by mere mortals. In modern times, we no longer have the divine right of kings. What we now have is an ideology being pushed by the oligarchs, which says that as very, very wealthy people, often self-made, often as the masters of revolutionary new technology, it is their absolute right to rule. In other words, these modern-day oligarchs are our kings. And it is not just...
Yeah, I mean, Elon got more power the other day when him and his booger-eating kid were in the Oval Office. So...
Power. It's incredible wealth that they have. Today, Mr. Musk is worth $402 billion. Zuckerberg is worth
He'd have a lot more if he hadn't bought Twitter, but he needed Twitter to control the information.
$252 billion. Bezos is worth $249 billion. With combined wealth of over $900 billion, these three people own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. Not surprisingly, since Trump was elected, their wealth has soared. Musk has become $138 billion richer. Zuckerberg has become $49 billion richer. And Bezos has become...
Yeah, I mean, these are the people who got more wealthy when everyone else was suffering during the pandemic. Amazon blew up because people started using Amazon that had never used Amazon before because that was the way to purchase and I mean it became like the main way to purchase things.
28 billion richer all since election.
Also, just food just skyrocketed. Everything started being expensive. Food-wise.
And shrinking. Like, if you notice, things are smaller now, too. Not only do they cost more, but the quantity is smaller. And some of that does have to do with costs going up, but a lot of it's just gouging. And we don't have any type of price controls on anything. I don't know if everything should be price controlled, but essentials like food should probably be capped.
Meanwhile, while the very rich become much richer, 60% of Americans live paycheck to paychecks. 85 million are uninsured or underinsured. 25% of seniors are trying to survive on $15,000 a year or less. 800,000 are homeless, and we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth. Do you think for 1 second that the oligarchs give a damn about working people? Trust me, they don't.
I saw someone in the chat mention like water. I pay so much for water. It's unbelievable. And it has nothing to do with my usage. I tried to like hardly use any water at all just to see if it would bring my water bill down. And most of the charges on my bill are like regulatory type fees. Like fees for like treatment and that sort of stuff that has nothing to do with my actual usage. It's crazy.
Musk's.
Yeah, and I'm like surrounded by water. like there's all kinds of lakes around me.
Decision to dismember USAID means that tens of thousands of the poorest people around the world will go hungry or die of preventable diseases. But it's not just abroad. Here in the United States, they will soon be going after the healthcare, nutrition, housing, and educational programs that protect the most vulnerable people in our country, all so that Congress can provide huge tax breaks for them and their fellow billionaires. As modern-day kings who believe they have the absolute right to rule, they will sacrifice without hesitation the well-being of working people to protect their interests. Further, they will use the enormous media operations they own to deflect attention away from the impact of their policies while they entertain us to death. Mr. Musk owns Twitter. Mr. Zuckerberg owns Meta, which includes Facebook and Instagram, and Mr. Bezos owns the Washington Post and Twitch. Further, they and their fellow oligarchs will continue to spend huge amounts of money to buy politicians in both major political parties. Bottom line, the oligarchs, with their enormous resources, are waging a war against the working class of this country, and it is a war that they are intent on winning. Now, I'm not going to kid you. The problems this country faces right now are extremely serious. The economy is rigged. Our campaign finance system is corrupt. And we are struggling to control climate change, an existential threat to our planet, among many, many other important issues. But this is what I do know. The worst fear that the ruling class in this country has is that Americans, black, white, Latino, urban and rural, gay and straight, young and old, that all of us will come together to demand a government that represents all of the people in our country, not just the wealthy few. The oligarch's nightmare is that we will not allow ourselves to be divided up by race, religion, sexual orientation, or country of origin, and will together have the courage to take them on. Will this struggle be easy? Absolutely not. And one of the reasons for that is that the ruling class of this country will constantly remind you that they have all the power. They control the government. They own the media. You want to take us on? Good luck, they will say. There is nothing you can do about it. But our job right now, in these very difficult times, is to not forget the great struggles and sacrifices that millions of people have waged over the several centuries to create a more democratic, just, and humane society. Think about it. over the last number of centuries, how many people have stood up and fought? And when they were doing that, you know what their contemporaries said? They said, hey, you want to overthrow the King of England to create a new nation and self-rule? Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Impossible. You want to...
It was a lot easier back then, though. It was a lot easier back then.
Establish universal suffrage, right of all people to vote? Impossible. Can't happen. You want to end slavery and segregation? Impossible. You want to grant workers the right to form unions and end child labor? Can't be done. Impossible. You want to give women control over their own bodies? Who are you kidding? Impossible. Can't be done. You want to pass legislation to establish Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, a minimum wage, clean air and water standards? Impossible. In other words, as Nelson Mandela told us, everything is impossible until it is done. In these difficult times, despair is not an option. We've got to fight back in every way we can. We have to get involved in the political process, run for office, connect with our local, state, and federal legislators, donate to candidates who will fight for the working class in this country. We have got to create new channels for communication and information sharing. We have to volunteer not just politically, but to build community locally. Whatever we can do is what we must do. Needless to say, I intend to do my part, both inside the Beltway and traveling throughout the country, to stand up for working families and to take on the oligarchy.
I'm lucky I don't have to shovel snow. We don't really get a lot of snow here.
In the days, weeks, and months ahead, I hope you will join me in that struggle. We can win, we will win, we must win.
There needs to be a clearer plan and a clearer call to action instead of nebulous calls to action. Like, there has to be a targeted, deliberate uprising instead of just like these vague, like, oh, we should do this.
Thank you very much.
You know, we should think about kind of doing this. I don't know. Everyone, please like the stream. Like the stream. Like the stream. 100% like the stream. Do it. And also trying to get to at least 20% of the goal tonight. We're going to be going for a little while longer. And then after this stream is over, we're going to the post show. We're going to go ahead and watch some other stuff. No news in the post show, though. I'm not doing any news or any political shit. No news or political shit for the post show. The post show is going to be all fun and games. You know what I am saying, bro?
Yeah.
So, Trump has been saying that that Canada should be the 51st state, which is insane because we think Alaska's a huge state. Canada would just, if it was all one state, it'd be ridiculous. This guy brings up a really good point here too that I'm going to play. It would kind of hurt Trump's cause. Like, I don't know if a Republican, I don't know if it would be easy for a Republican to win the presidency again or the House because of the population of Canada. If it was all one big state, here it is.
I want to talk to the Trump supporting members of MAGA in regard to this whole Canada 51st state thing. Now, before we get into this, I think that anybody that critically thinks about this for longer than 30 seconds understands that Canada is never going to become a state in the United States. It's not going to become a territory. We're not going to invade and occupy it. This is all bluster for some reason. But I do want to talk about it because the people who support Donald Trump, the members of MAGA, are all on board with this. They're
on board with whatever Trump says he wants. They don't even think about whether or not it makes sense. They're just like, oh, Trump wants that? Okay. Oh, you want tariffs that are going to raise the price of everything? Oh, well, Trump wants it. Must be right.
They're hell-bent on trying to make this happen. When we talk to you guys about this, you guys really don't come up with any reasons why we should do this, other than that Trump wants to do this. Some of you say, the resources that are available in this in the nation of Canada, what would be the state of Canada, would benefit the.
I mean, people have joked around about Canada and the UK being the 51st state. It's not that funny and it's not that original. And Trump isn't saying he's joking. When people ask him, he says, "No, I really think that." So I don't care. RJ, Trump is the establishment. Trump is the establishment. He runs the party. He has the courts in his back pocket. He has the House and the Senate. He is the establishment.
United States of America. Some of you have mentioned strategic reasons why we should occupy or absorb Canada, but really your reason is that Trump wants it, and so
he's not getting us out of debt. You're living in a fantasy world.
You want it. My question to you guys who are hardcore in favor of pushing Canada to become...
The tariffs are not going to... See, when you say us, do you mean the country or individuals? Because we're all going to get... individual people are going to get deeper into debt because everything is going to cost a lot more.
I think he's talking about the national debt.
It's not changing that either. Tariffs don't have anything to do with the national debt.
The 51st state is. Have you guys thought about the political ramifications of doing so?
What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, he made a bunch of, he's done like lots of other presidents he makes a bunch of promises that he doesn't keep. Like, did he?
Well, he makes promises that he can't keep, like birthright citizenship. He can't just sign a piece of paper.
Yeah, like he said he'd build a wall and make Mexico pay for it. That never happened. He said he was going to put Hillary in prison. That never happened.
Well, he can't just sign it. Like, you need to pass a constitutional amendment to end birthright citizenship because it's a constitutional amendment. He signed the paper, but it doesn't change anything. The paper doesn't change anything. And he's not cutting he's not cutting enough unnecessary spending. He's cutting shit that he doesn't like, that we're not even really spending that much on in the grand scheme of things. The military budget is the biggest thing. That's not getting changed.
Because I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I bet...
RJ, I'm going to time you out because now you're just saying Gulf of America and other pointless shit. Like, you're just being a dumbass. And then, you won't distract me anymore when I don't have to read your, hyper retarded comments anymore.
You haven't. If Canada were to become the 51st state in the United States of America, overnight they would become one of, if not the most liberal states in the nation. More so than California. You guys are trying to get rid of California while simultaneously trying to absorb another California. I want you to think about what the political ramifications would mean. The Canadians are extraordinarily liberal. Almost half of Canadians, 46%, think abortion should be legal under any circumstance, while just over a third, 35%, would allow the procedure only under certain circumstances. Fewer than 1 in 10.
Yeah, if we absorbed Canada, Canada would be probably the most liberal state. It would be like a second California, and its population is about as high as California, so it would get about as many electoral votes as California.
Canadians, 7%, believe abortion should be illegal. So you would be bringing on another pro-choice state. Majority of Canadians support stronger gun control measures. A survey finds that more than 70% of respondents support permanent ban on new handgun purchases and oppose civilians being allowed to own assault-style firearms. Canadians are largely satisfied with their universal health care system. 2/3, 66%, say they're satisfied with provincial health care system. And 7 in 10 agree that the system is too bureaucratic, but they like their health care. 89.9% of Canadians support or somewhat support universal health care. 79.9% of Canadians give their unqualified
almost 90% support their public health care system.
Endorsement of universal health care. 86.2% of Canadians support strengthening public health care. Over 90% of Canadians view Canadian Medicare as a source of pride. 75% of Canadians back same-sex unions. 4 points above the global average. So you guys are openly advocating for a shit ton of extraordinarily liberal people to come into the United States of America and form what would be, I believe, the most liberal state in the Union if they became the...
It'd also be the most ridiculously big state. Like, Canada's the second largest country by area in the world. Like, it's all like Russia's the largest. So look at Canada on a map. All of that would just be one state. It's so stupid. It's all spread out and everything too. It wouldn't make sense. But that's what he says, because he's not smart enough to be like, oh, well, we should divide it into this, or just keep the provinces and make them into states. By the way, I don't think this is a good idea, but I'm just entertaining the idea. Yes, if it became part of the U.S., we wouldn't want Canada to just be one big state.
51st state. Now, if they became the 51st state, they would get 2 more senators. The Democratic Party would, because they would undoubtedly be liberal senators coming out of Canada. So you guys are openly advocating for the Democrats to gain 2 more liberal Senate seats.
I want Cascadia, which is this separationist movement where they want to take the Pacific Northwest and turn it into its own country, including parts of British Columbia.
Now, the population of Canada, 40.1 million, extraordinarily similar to that of California, which means if we appropriated or we calculated for members of the House of Representatives for Canada, the same way we do every...
Yeah. So the whole country of Canada only has slightly more people than California.
Yeah, just a little over 1 million.
Yeah.
The other state, then the number of representatives in the House of Representatives would be somewhat similar to, if not slightly more liberal than the makeup of the representatives from California. And as of right now, California is represented in the House of Representatives by 9 Republicans and 43 Democrats. So if Canada were to become the 51st state, you would be adding tens of millions of people who have extraordinarily liberal viewpoints, that want stronger gun restrictions, that are in support of same-sex marriage, that are in support of universal health care, that are pro-choice. You would give Democrats 2 additional senators when you only have a 3-seat majority in the House right now for Republicans. So that would cut the Republicans' majority down to 1 seat. And you would completely erase the 3-seat majority that they currently have in the House of Representatives and give Democrats a majority in the House of Representatives by probably over 40 seats. If Canada were to become the 51st state in the Union, there is a strong possibility that Republicans would not regain control of the federal government in this country for 50 to 100 years. So why are you guys advocating for this?
Because Trump said that's what they want, and they don't look into things. They're just like, oh, Trump wants it. Must be good. Trump never wrong. Trump never wrong. It's crazy. It's kind of like how Sturgis will never admit, like, Eric July ever makes any mistakes. It's the same, like, brain-dead, sycophantic frame of mind with Trump supporters. By the way, this would be Cascadia. So it's Oregon, Washington, and British Columbia, and then you can see the outline. Some maps of it would do like southern Alaska and parts of Idaho and parts of northern California, and I guess a little bit of Wyoming too, according to this map. I have a Cascadia flag T-shirt. They call it the Doug because it's got a Douglas fir on it. Let's see here. Right here, like these people, that's what the Cascadia flag looks like. Oh, this is at a Portland Timbers soccer game. Interesting.
Kind of looks like a weed plant.
It's a tree. It's a really tall evergreen tree called the Douglas fir. It's just kind of hard to see because it's bent a little bit, but it's a big evergreen tree. Let me see if I can find. Let's see.
A Douglas fir.
Yeah. Let's see. Cascadian. The Doug flag. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, I have a t-shirt with this on it. Yeah, the Doug.
The Doug.
That's what some people call that flag, the Doug. Or Old Doug. Yeah.
Yeah, never heard of that.
No, we wouldn't lose it. They can just move to Idaho. Because they the hoe. If they want to be the hoe, they can go to Idaho. Who the hoe? You the hoe. I'll be right back.
Idaho.
I'll be right back.
All right. Oh no, it's Pixel Bisky. So we're probably going to be moving over to the private show here real soon. You know what I am saying. What's up, young RJ? Yeah, we're going to do the private show with our private parts out. It's going to be great. Maybe we'll take up the Trumpster Bob challenge and see if we're gay. Yeah, the butthole challenge. We'll see whose butthole is more blown out. I'm guessing me. Do some dabs? I don't have any wax to do dabs. Yeah. I'll show my pixelated dick. It'll be cool. Who doesn't want to see my pixelated dick? All right. I'm going to light the joint like some sort of crazy guy. Dixelated. So yeah, we're trying to get to 20% in on the goal here. So I don't know if you guys can boss it up a little bit. I'll chug quicker if you guys want a tip for that as well. Get a little bit more drinky before the private show. What's Adobe? Oh. What's Adobe? My wife has Doran syndrome. Get it? Oh, dang. What's up, your mom? Pass the Dutchie. Drinky. Yeah, anybody else here drinking? Anybody here drinking with me? No cheese, bitch. What? I tell you, there's no cheese. You know I need cheese on my chili. Fucking Dorn. Since the morning. Yeah, what are you drinking? So that's why you're acting all crazy today, young RJ. You are drinking, huh? 4 tall cans in of what? What are you drinking?
Paint thinner, obviously. I can see his IQ lowering every time he types something.
Oh, he's drinking strong stuff, IPA.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, check this out. Here's an update on this year's 420 awards. Derek Savage's 420 awards.
It's so weird that he does this.
Yeah, I've never seen him smoke weed or do anything weed related except for the 420 awards.
Well, hey guys,
all his
how's it
other
going?
content is aimed towards fucking 5-year-olds, so it's really
Doing
weird.
what to 5-year-olds?
No, he's what?
Did you hear what you just said?
I said most of his content is aimed towards 5-year-olds.
That's not what. There was a word between aim towards and 5-year-olds.
What?
You didn't hear that part?
I don't know. I'm not sure what. I think you just misheard something.
No, I didn't. I did. No, I didn't. Hold on. We're gonna listen to it back here. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on.
What?
You didn't hear that part? Hold on. Let's move it back.
Toward content is aimed. What? 5-year-olds.
That you just said?
I said most of his content is aimed towards 5.
Did you hear what you?
His other content is aimed towards fucking 5-year-olds. So
There it is. What to 5-year-old?
Oh my god! I'm not. Okay, I didn't mean it like that. Okay, that's funny.
Wow.
I didn't realize. It was an
Wow.
accident.
Wow, Shabisky.
That's
You're disgusting.
And I tell you what, I hope you are ready
He's the one doing
to
it.
have some fun, because you know what time of the year is coming up. That's right, and it's time for our award shows coming up. And that's the 420 Awards, yes sirree. And just look at that cover. I mean, man, oh man.
Wait, it's in Vegas?
Yeah, that's
go
where
to this?
that's where he lives. Don't go
Yeah,
to this.
okay,
He's
I
gonna
remember-
he's gonna charge all kinds of stupid money to go to it. It's gonna suck and be boring. It's the same shit every year.
You gotta admit, it would be neat
And you
for me
just
to do an
said what
IRL
all of his
stream.
content is aimed towards, and now you're like, I should go to this. So I don't know, Shabisky.
Oh my God.
You might be a sicko.
You,
dude, you just
So
said most of his
talking about
content
this
is
months.
aimed towards blanking 5-year-olds, and then you're like, I should go to this.
Oh, stop it!
Wow.
The weed leaf. Okay, that's what made me think then. Okay.
Fucking
and this
sicko.
beautiful man in front of us.
The weed leaf made you think of blanking 5-year-olds?
No, it made me think of going to the award show. Stop it!
To blank some
It
5-year-olds?
was an accident. No, there's nothing about blanking 5-year-olds.
You said it, not me, Shabisky.
No, it was an accident.
Isn't it looking
There are no accidents.
so pretty this year? You know, this is our 6th annual
Dude, I
event.
aim towards
And
going to this.
this
I mean, do
year,
you think he's really going to charge very much? Like what, $10-$20 to get in?
Are you serious? He's
I don't-
like
I
a
don't
known.
know.
He's like a known grifter. I mean, like
I'm going to do.
It might have already happened. Oh no! It is on 420. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll pull up the website right now.
something that I've never done before.
yeah, that would be
And in fact,
really
I got a couple
funny,
of
I
new
think,
things
for me
here
to
to
go
throw at you that I think is going to be really cool. And for all the 420 Awards fans,
Let's see if the website even works.
you're going to really
shit.
love this. Okay, well, first of all, this year it is going to be aired on April the 20th. 2025. You know, usually it's about a month after that, or before we put the show out. It is going to be ready on April the 20th for you to watch it. And so go on and mark that on your calendar. Yes, sirree. And I'll tell you what, for this year's event, I got some collectibles coming to you. What I'm going to do is a little Kickstarter campaign just to give you a chance to be able to get them. Hey, and the thing is, one thing about these Kickstarter campaigns or Indiegogo, whatever, for all the producers out there that actually do film products, it helps you get a lot of publicity on your project. So I do recommend it for you right here. It helps you raise some money, but mainly it does help you get some publicity. And for this year's event, let me show you what we got coming at you right here.
I see the merch. I don't see a place to buy tickets. I'm looking. I like how he's using a picture of himself that's like 30 years old.
I have some of the original 420 Awards shirts.
Oh, he still has the 2019 420 Awards shirts. He's like, it's the original. It's like, yeah, it's the ones you couldn't sell. You're still trying to sell them.
And this is from 2019.
It's at Eclipse Theaters in Las Vegas. Or no, that's the original one. Where is this one? It's at... It says 420 Awards, the non-woke awards show. It's like, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
From the very first event, I have approximately 20 of these shirts.
I don't know if he's selling tickets for people to see it live. I don't know. It says, you know what else it says at the bottom? Here, I'm going to put this up here. It's funny because it's like at the bottom it says, Derek Savage Productions.
That's funny.
Derek Savage Productions.
Yeah. And yeah, you might be right. It says Las Vegas, but he might just be like, oh, I'm going to be in Las Vegas for it does say live streaming it. So yeah, it might only be accessible with watching it on the live stream.
This is funny. He actually got to give one of the awards to someone who won it. Because like all the time, like the awards, like they give the awards to these people that don't want, like they probably don't even know that they won. But he found one of the guys from Smash Mouth. Like the singer from Smash Mouth died a couple years ago. Yeah. So he's selling the shirts from 2019. Only available in upcoming campaign. Huh. Oh my God. I wonder if he's going to have this guy Stephen Pearl again. Doobie Dude. I forgot about Doobie Dude and Blunt Boy.
Blunt Boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once they're going, they're going.
Well, email him and see if he'll let you go to the 420 Awards.
Oh, and I might have some more made next year. For next year's event, maybe not. I don't know. But if you want one of the original, I've had these for 6 years now. This 2025. This is 2000.
Yeah, you couldn't sell them.
19. Hey, I got 20 of them. Now is your chance to get one. But
we've had 5 years as our chance to get one.
But hey, I'll tell you what.
You're
also going to be able to get online tickets to secure your ticket to
Oh, there we go. Hold on.
Watch it. And for the first time ever with the 420 Awards, you're going to be able to get your name in the credits. So
okay, he's saying like a ticket to watch it like online, not to actually go there.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Yep.
If you like that, hey, we're doing that. And got the OG shirts. When I say OG, baby, no, these are the OG ones.
Yeah, they're the ones you
I like
couldn't.
it when Shabisky is a guest. Yes, he is stoned, but sometimes insightful.
Yeah, the whole thing he said about Derek Savage earlier, and then how he wants to hang out with him. He said that right after it. So yeah. We got an insight into what a sicko Shabisky is.
You're lying.
Right here. And hey, would you like a shout out from me For the first time ever, you can get a shout out from me or have the comedian legend himself, Stephen Pearl.
I knew he was going to have him back again. You know what? I've seen the last 4. This is the 5th one. And they're all exactly the same. Like, the same shit happens almost every year. I mean, like, with slight differences, but mostly the same shit.
Yeah, I slightly remember us watching one of them.
One time we were watching one of them, and this guy who worked for Derek Savage was in the chat talking to us about it. It was kind of funny.
Huh.
And of course, Stephen is going to be at the show. He's so excited
He's there
for it. And
every
would you
year.
like Stephen Pearl, the wild?
Is he going to tell the exact same jokes he did the last 4 years?
Man himself to give you a shout out? Hey, we can make that happen for you. Also, would you like to sponsor your company? You know, every year you hear me naming several sponsors that sponsors our show, and I'm happy to throw out a good sponsorship for you right there, too. Hey, and I tell you what, for the first time ever, you can get and be an associate producer of the award show, and you also get a phone call with me because, hey, if you're a producer, we got to talk some production stuff.
There you go. You can talk to him about some sicko shit, Shabisky.
Yeah. About the 5-year-olds.
Up there. So if you would like to talk to me, get your questions down.
Your questions.
And we can do a little chat there. But now this is probably the coolest one. This is the one that I like the best. Okay, you guys are...
We're going to see Jared Genesis make a video about how Derek Savage is a based man of integrity. You know what I am saying here, hey.
And then he's going to be like, oh, and so Shabisky. You know what I'm saying, bro? We're almost there, guys. Can we get to 20% tonight? 20%. And I'm going to do an early stream tomorrow also. So, yeah, do me a solid. Get me to 20%. Please. Please.
Remember his video where he's like, guess what? I've got a new ally. Remember that?
Help me out. Remind me a little more. Yes. Yeah, to take me out. He's like, you guessed it, Shabisky.
It's so weird because if you looked at our DMs, they're like, it's boring. There's no like, oh, we're gonna do this crazy stuff. Me and you are cool now or something. It was just, I just wasn't mean to him. I just was cordial and wasn't mean to him. And somehow the next day he comes to that conclusion. It was just the weirdest shit, but it was funny.
With 420 Band, you've seen Doobie Dude.
Doobie Dude!
You've seen Blunt
Lady
Boy.
Leaf.
I think you've seen Lady Leaf, too. Oh, she's the sexiest lady out there. That's right. But, guys, look what I got right here. From the outfit that we actually made the outfits with. This is...
Yeah, he...
It doesn't even look like a lady. It just looks like a leaf. It looks like it's supposed to be a male leaf. There's no if you look at it, there's nothing about it that looks ladylike.
I don't think Derek Savage knows a lot about weed. Like, I don't think he smokes it.
Though, huh?
I don't know.
This is a piece of lady leaf. So if you would actually like to have a piece of lady leaf, we can make this happen. Look at that.
Can you smoke
read
that?
This is guaranteed. There you
This will
go,
be worth
right there. Isn't that
millions in the
cool?
future.
I mean, this would be so pretty to hang up on your wall. And put on the wall, put it in a nice frame right there. Be a lovely picture. Now, here's one. This is Doobie Dude. It's hard to...
Doobie Dude. Doobie Doobie Dude.
Did they not use those characters anymore? Is that why they cut a piece of it off? They discontinued doing them or having them? I don't know.
See, there's the white fabric right there. Doobie Dude's white. We got Lady Leaf, Doobie Dude, and hey, here's the man himself. Blunt Boy coming at you too, baby. Look at that. And bottom line, The shows are in
Johnny.
pre-production now, and this is just a chance for you to get involved with it. If you want to be involved with the award show, hey, we can make it happen for you right there. And guys, the day is Tuesday. Thursday this week, I will be announcing the nominees for the award show. Is Thursday morning is when I'm going to start the Kickstarter. So if you want to be a part of it, that's when it's coming right there. It's just a 30-day thing. And so, hey, guys, get ready to have fun this year on April the 20th. Looking forward to this show. It's going to be a great time, guys. And have a good time tonight. Take care now. Oh, hey, by the way, I hope you subscribe to the channel. If you like the
I hope you subscribe.
Today's content,
Yeah,
be sure to
subscribe.
click that like button. You know, it's all good. Guys, take it easy. In there. I'm just going to scroll through it quickly here.
On that last part.
What is he doing? Is this like an outtake?
There you go. Tells you a little bit about it right there. Also tells you some of the rewards right there.
Wait, it said Hood Rat Rapper. Is he gonna do the rap thing?
Hood Rat. Yeah, that's his like. It's
Yeah, is he
basically a
gonna do that
racist
at the
caricature of
show?
a black person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the official cloth from the 420 band outfits.
Crap.
Got all three of them there. Here, there's the t-shirt. Okay, there's a shout out package. Sponsor your company. And I'm gonna, there's Doobie Doo, there's Blunt Boy, and Action. And,
I wonder why he recorded it that way. He probably doesn't know how to record his screen, so he had to like film it with a camera.
Yeah, he's somebody that is makes films and all this crap, but he can't figure out screen recording.
Yeah, he's a filmmaker, but he doesn't know how to use OBS to record his screen.
Yeah, there's different ways you could screen record, but yeah, like you don't even need.
But
to
I mean,
do the
OBS is one of the easiest ways because it's free. All you have to do is download it and record your fucking screen. It's so easy.
Yeah.
Got a little more time before we do the post show here. This is crazy. This guy, these people, plane travel is just crazy these days. So this guy has some kind of psychotic breakdown on a plane and grabs the hair of this woman that's sitting in front of him on the plane and won't let go. So the flight attendants have to literally punch the guy in the face until he.
Okay, I've seen a little bit of this. I didn't know the hair grabbing thing about it. All I saw was the punching. I'm pretty sure.
I didn't get to finish what I was saying, Shabisky.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're thinking about Derek Savage's content too much and not paying attention enough. Yeah, so they punch the guy in the face until he lets the woman go. It's insane. So here's that. Yeah, the guy with the with the white hair is screaming like ah!
Disturbing moments on board this Alaska Airlines flight as a passenger appears to lose control. A flight attendant jumping in to subdue the man, at times punching him, trying to get the passenger to release the hair of 32-year-old Erica Ramos sitting in front of him.
I told him for hair, sir. I really wasn't sure what was happening in that moment. I was afraid that this person was going to start punching me.
Erica escaping the seat and the flight attendant calling for backup. Erica says the attack caused painful swelling and she's still getting headaches 9 days later.
There was a moment where we actually see your face in that video turn around and look at him. What were you thinking?
That would fucking suck. You're just sitting there on a flight and he just fucking grabbed her hair and wouldn't let go of it.
And did you say anything to him?
I did not say anything to him. I think I was just really in shock. From my understanding of things, he was having a psychotic episode, and I didn't necessarily want to interact with him and possibly make things worse.
The plane, still on the ground, was scheduled to fly to Portland, Oregon from Oakland, California on February 1st, but
Yeah, so they were flying from Oakland to Portland.
After the chaotic ordeal, it was forced to return to its gate so authorities could intervene. It's not every day that you see flight attendants throwing punches to try to subdue an unruly passenger. Was that the right move there?
The flight attendant who had to respond to this took the immediate actions that you would take if you were able to take the crew member self-defense training. We're in a confined space. We cannot call for help. There's no other way to do this. And there was imminent danger here. And so
so they're like totally justified. It's true. Like, you can't, when you're in an airplane, you can't call the cops to come help you. Like, you have to be the cops. The flight crews are like the law when you're in the air. Like, what they say, if you go against their orders, it's a federal offense. Like, if they're giving you a lawful order, yes. Oh, yes.
Huh.
Oh, yes. If they're giving you, like, a lawful order like that, yes.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yep.
But it makes sense.
Yeah.
passenger needed to
up there.
There's not air marshals on every plane. They don't have enough air marshals to be on every plane that's in the sky constantly all day. They might have them every now and then randomly on a flight, but there's not an air marshal on every flight. There's way too many flights a day.
have action against them in order to stop what they were doing in severely harming another passenger.
Alaska Airlines telling NBC News in part that the man appeared to be experiencing a violent medical episode that involved an ongoing physical assault against other passengers and our crew. Our crew responded to the chaotic situation quickly and kept all guests safe, adding that the man has been banned from future flights. The airline has found itself at the center of increased public scrutiny recently.
Yeah, it was Alaska Air. I blame the manufacturer of the plane more than the airline itself. But yeah, Alaska Airlines was the flight that had the plug. They had like a door plug fall out, like mid-flight.
Wow.
Yeah, what they do is they'll build like a hole for a door on the side of a plane, but they install these plugs to plug it up, and it just like fell out while they were in the sky. Luckily, it didn't land on anybody.
That probably wasn't properly installed. That's crazy.
But there was someone just sitting right there, right next to it, you know? So that was scary as shit. And also, like, it's fucking cold up there. So it's...
Yeah.
All the pressure in the cabin is gone, too.
That would
Boeing...
be a crazy experience.
Boeing cuts corners with the planes that they build. Big time. They have tried to skirt regulations and cut corners to maximize profitability.
After multiple high-profile safety incidents. It was an Alaska Airlines flight last January that had its door plug blow off the fuselage of a Boeing 737 MAX 9 midair. At the time, the airline saying incidents like this are rare and the passengers and crew landed safely. And in 2023, an off-duty Alaska Airlines pilot attempted to disengage the engines of a plane mid-flight. That pilot later telling investigators he had recently taken magic mushrooms.
What?
This latest incident resolving relatively quickly, but leaving passengers in shock as flying continues to drive many to the breaking point.
Dana Griffin joins us from Los Angeles. I think all of us would be at the breaking point if that happened to us. Dana, what else did you hear from that passenger you spoke to about what led up to the incident we saw on video?
Yeah, well, Tom, Erica Ramos says that before the plane even left the gate, that passenger was overly chatty at first, then started hyperventilating and hitting his head on the back of her seat. She says he lost consciousness at one point, but once he
must have been drugged up. See, that's the thing I noticed with a lot of these airports, a lot of the like weird like meltdowns and shit. It seems like people are taking medication to either like sleep on the plane or for anxiety, but then they also drink and they black out and act insane. Like Terry Ann Blues. Did you watch the Terry Ann Blues thing with me? I can't remember.
I don't think I was there for that, but I've heard you mention it. It's become a little bit of a meme, I guess.
Terry Ann Blues.
gained it. That's when he grabbed her hair. She says she never spoke to him before or after the incident. And according to Alaska Airlines, that flight was ultimately canceled because one flight attendant, not the one in that video, determined that they were unfit to continue. And that is a safety call flight attendants can make if they've experienced mental or physical trauma.
I've drank on planes. I mean, like, there's all sorts of bars in most airports. Most airports have bars. Like, at least restaurants that serve drinks, but like the Seattle airport and a lot of airports I've been to have like actual bars where you can go and like drink anything. And then if you're flying first class, you get unlimited free drinks the whole time. The whole flight, unlimited free drinks. So there's definitely a lot of drinking going on. But I've gotten drunk and not acted insane on an airplane. So I don't know. And a lot of the times these stories are in the States. Like, you don't hear about this happening in other countries that often. But yeah, people probably are like they're probably they're drinking margaritas and taking Valium and blacking out and acting insane.
Yeah, those videos can be pretty entertaining.
Oh yes. Yeah, I got this will probably be the last video we get to watch tonight, and then we'll go do the post show. If anyone wants to help us get to 20%, that would be amazing. Please use the link pinned in the top of the chat. Throw us a couple dollars. Help us get there. And this is a police body cam one where this guy is like super wasted at a bar and tries to just randomly fight people, and the cops show up, and it gets pretty crazy.
Hey, man. I picked him out twice already. He just keeps going. Yeah. Hey, I have a seat. I have a seat. You guys want him out? What's going on with this guy? This guy's trying to just fight this guy even more. Hey, I'm following my shirt, man. Let's go. I go when I want to go.
I'll go when I want to go. It's like, no, when they tell you to leave, you have to leave. I'll turn down the music a little bit until they get outside. Hey, I have a jacket. It's like, okay, go get it.
Hey, stop pushing me, man. Hey, stop touching me. Stop touching me, bro. Stop. Hey, man. Hey, I have a jacket. Y'all. Hey, well then chill out. Chill out. I'm gonna put you in cuffs. All right, cool. What you chill out? You gonna leave? Are you arresting me? Are you arresting me? No, if you leave, you're just good to go.
You know how many times I've seen this where the cops are like, you should leave. And they're like, am I being arrested? They're like, no, not if you leave. And then they don't leave. It's like, why are you not leaving? There'd be like a cloud of dust from how fast I leave. Like, like the fucking Roadrunner taking off.
Shit, stupid. You all. Read my rights. Where's my...
Oh, yeah. People think that the cops need to, like, immediately read you your rights. That's not true. They don't have to do that right away. They can take you all the way to jail before they do it. Movies are not real life.
Rights, man. Hey, where's my rights, man? I've been arrested, man. Hey, where's my rights? I want my jacket. Yeah,
This guy's trying to help him get his jacket, but he won't shut up.
I'm asking you a question. Okay. What brand is your jacket so I can go find it, dude? It's a flannel, man. It's a whitetail. It's a whitetail jacket, man. Okay, I'm gonna go look for you all. Place, I'll never come back here again.
I don't think they're disappointed.
They don't want you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want you to come back. What the fuck?
Keep acting foolish, you're gonna get more trouble. If you calm down, you might go home tonight, okay? Yeah, I'm gonna sue. I'm gonna sue. Where's my right? We're not asking you any questions, man. It's on camera. Y'all suck so bad. Hey,
Yes, Miranda rights are before questioning. Yes.
what's my charge? You arrested me?
We're figuring that out right now.
What's my... Yeah, you figure it out.
As of right now, disorderly conduct. If they want to pursue charges, you're going to go in for disorderly conduct. All right, take a seat.
Have a seat. Put your leg in.
I'm trying, mother. What's your badge number? What's your name?
What's your badge number?
Again. Hey, are you taking me? Are you taking me?
He's watched a couple YouTube videos and he thinks he's an expert on this.
You're taking. What's the charge? What's the charge?
They already told him what the charge is.
Put your head in the. What's the charge?
Disorderly conduct and trespassing.
Who said trespassing? And assault on us. No, I did. What it is? You guys are getting fired.
Fired. Fired.
You're getting fired. I'll see if they want to pursue for the trespassing.
That's another thing with these people. They're always going to sue them and get them fired every time.
What's your name? Or else you will be going to jail for concealed identity. I don't have to tell you that. What's your name? You. I ain't telling you. You guys want to pursue charges for trespassing?
He's not the one that wouldn't leave. I don't know what his problem was. He was cool like 15, 20 minutes ago.
Walked in to see maybe if the guy that we were dealing with, I figured that's why they were here.
Yeah, that is why.
We just walked into that, all four of us.
So they actually called the cops for someone else that was in there, but this guy freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, someone in there was saying he was trying to fight one of the guys. He had his shirt off and everything. He was rebutted by the time we got back in there. I'm planning on releasing you if they don't want to pursue charges. So what's your name? Yeah. All right. I'll book you under John Doe. That's my lawyer. That's my lawyer.
Here's the thing, if he goes and gets in a car, what would I need to tell you for you guys to take him to the drunk tank? Because that's probably where he's asking us to go.
So we don't have a drunk tank, so it'd be like he would have to get charged.
Charges.
Yeah.
See, this guy doesn't even want to press charges against him.
I gotta get back inside because I got.
Talking at all? Nah, he won't tell me his name. I already explained to him I'm talking concealing. So we have a concealing and you want to pursue for disorderly conduct?
That's fine.
Because he was trying to,
Yeah,
he was trying to.
Taking his shirt off.
All right, we'll get him out of here. Appreciate it.
You guys have a good night.
Yep, thank you. Hey. What the? What the? Are you gonna give us your name? You! I haven't done nothing wrong! You!
Yeah, that works. All you have to do is yell at them really loud and they'll let you go. That's how it works every time. Yeah. This guy's a genius.
Nobody! Get out! I haven't done nothing wrong! You all! Take these cuffs off, please. This is under arrest. For what? I told you. Concealing identity and disorderly conduct. That's not a law. That's not a
it is.
law. Yo,
I'm an upstanding citizen.
I make more money than y'all motherfuckers do.
Now he's pulling the I make more money than you guys. Damn, that's how they're going to let you go. They're going to be like, what? You make more money than us? Damn, we're going to let you go, sir. Sorry.
Why didn't you tell us earlier, sir? We would have even given you a hard time. I'm sorry.
Concealing identity is the same thing as failure to identify, and it is a crime in most states. When you're suspected
of getting arrested.
Yeah, if you're suspected of committing a crime, you have to identify.
Yeah, it's different if you're just walking on the street and the cop stops you. Show me your ID, like you've done nothing. That's different. This guy's getting arrested and he won't tell them who he is, so that makes sense.
Dude, you motherfucker. Hey, I'm a rat. This guy's wrong. Stop pushing me. Read my rights. We're not. Read my rights.
We don't have to.
You committed an offense in our presence.
You committed an offense in our presence.
If I have not been right, no rights, I don't have to sit down. You only have 3 year rights to grab. Hey. Sit down. Officer. Sit down. You're charging me for resisting? If you don't listen. On what charge are you charging me for?
They've already told you.
Resisting. You guys know that you're going to be fired, right? You guys know I make more money. All right. I can't help it. I can't do it. I can't. You just did it. You're fine. Yeah. There you go. Oh my God! You heard me! You heard me! Oh my God! Get paid more than y'all, so.
I get paid more.
Yeah.
What a dipshit.
Rivera? Officer Rivera. Yeah, alright, yeah. Gomez, Rivera. Oh, it sounds like a racist thing, right? White. And y'all.
Oh God, now he's doing it. You're racist against me because I'm white and you're Mexican.
I'm Mexican, huh? Yeah. What? What? You think you're a big man because you stand behind?
No, I just want my camera to record how you're acting.
He's like, oh, you think you're tough because you're standing behind this? He's like, no, I just want my camera to record you. Yeah, because that's another thing to consider. Anytime you talk to a cop and they got a body cam on, if something happens, that shit's public. Anyone can, like, look up your body cam data if they figure out, like, when and where. If there's, like, an actual record of it.
All right, cool.
Only in rare circumstances do they not make that available.
You guys good with them? Yeah, we're good. Thank you.
What am I arrested for? What's that charge? You have this charge. Hey, read my rights. I need rights.
Don't kick the door.
You take these handcuffs off. They hurt.
I sit up straight. It's up to you.
I don't know if you're the one arresting that dude.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
That was crazy, dude.
Yeah.
I thought I knew him from softball, and I was like, what's up? He's like, who the f*** are you? And he pushed me. He just pushed me, and then so I pushed him back.
Trying to fight you?
Yeah. You didn't watch the cameras, bro. This is
no, I saw.
He broke my jacket, like, held on to this. I'm not going to press charges. I'm not going to be an idiot, but...
Yeah.
So why are you over there talking to them? Don't go and talk to the cops unless you have to. Like, this guy should not be coming over there and talking to them. If they came up to him and tried to talk to him, then that's another story. But he's, like, going out to the parking lot to talk to them. While he's drunk, you can tell he's been drinking. Like, just avoid them. They'll come to you if they want to talk to you bad enough.
That was just out of control.
Yeah,
I just thought I knew him. I was like, what's up?
He was still acting a fool in there, so just... All right. Cool, man.
There's cameras and everything.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. All right.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, because he was flailing around and ended up, like, wedged between the back seat and the front seat.
Hey, Cortez.
I can't breathe. Please help me.
Why do you keep throwing yourself on the floor?
Please help me. I can't. Please, what's my charge?
This is like the 10th time he's asked
I
that.
can't sit back here. What's my charge?
Disorderly conduct.
And while you were gone, he was like, because the cops have, like, Hispanic last names, he was like, oh, you're racist against me because I'm white and you're Mexican, is what he said to them.
Concealing identity and assault.
You have my identity. You have my driver's license. You can't charge me for that. I haven't done nothing wrong.
Sit down. Sit up straight, though, so you don't fall over.
You can't argue the law with the cops. Like, you argue the law with the judge in court, or you have your lawyer do it. Like, when the cops have made up their mind about something, you can't, like, debate it with them. It doesn't work that way.
Sit down. Hey.
I can't. Read my rights. Miranda. Miranda. Hey, this is too tight. What are you charging me for?
You have 3 charges.
All right, cool.
All right, cool.
Listen.
Nope.
No.
Hey, I got a lawyer. All right.
Lawyer.
You can lose. Yeah, what's the charge? Huh?
I already told you.
Arrest me because I'm white. I didn't do nothing wrong.
What the fuck?
How much you want to bet this guy voted for Trump? He thinks Mexican cops are just going to arrest him because he's white.
Yeah.
White persecution complex.
Yeah, what a victim.
He's
not allowed to just start fights with people because he's white.
What? What's the charge? Hey, what's the charge?
What's the charge? We told you like 5 times.
Told you like 5 times.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. Tell me no charge. What's the charge?
Hey there. Okay. Have a sit up the bench. Medical staff's gonna take you, alright? Tell me your name and date of birth, please.
No.
See? Yeah, he's still refusing to identify.
What's the charge?
We told you.
No, you did not tell me
illegal, basically, and he's being charged for that. He's still doing it.
You, I'm talking as loud as I want to. What's the charge?
I can if I want to. He's like oppositionally defiant. I could do whatever I want.
Concealing identity, assaulting a peace officer.
You have my identity, you have my driver's license.
And disorderly conduct.
Yeah, that'll stand up real well in court. I did nothing wrong! Stop yelling at her! I will talk as loud as I want! You hear me, don't you? I didn't do nothing wrong!
They already told you the charge. They don't have to be repeating themselves all that time and telling you what's up. They're just going to medical staff. Just let them check you out real quick.
No comment. Talk to my lawyer. Talk to my lawyer.
You want to take your vitals, sir?
Nope.
No comment now, after all this?
No.
All right.
Yeah, they were gonna come and have like the medical person check on him, and he's like, no. Now he's banging his head on the metal doors.
Hey, stop. What the fuck?
How you do that thing?
Yeah.
Really? Come on now.
Sit up. Sit up.
Ow!
Sit up.
Ow! I didn't do nothing wrong! I didn't do nothing.
Yeah, being the nurse here, that's gotta be a hard job to deal with.
Yeah, with someone being kind of violent like this too.
Yeah, and it's probably it probably happens all the fucking time. This isn't even something like
and this guy isn't a small guy either. He's like bigger than all of the male police officers around him.
Yeah, he could hurt you.
Be an adult, man.
No, y'all f***ing want to be this piece of shit. All right, cool.
Hey,
I didn't do nothing wrong. Hey, this is on camera. Yeah, walk away.
Hey,
get your bags out of the way.
Come on.
Stand up. I can't walk. I'm just.
I think this is in New Mexico.
He said, I can't walk, I'm disabled.
Because of the symbol on the car back there. You see the like symbol, it looks like a sun. That's called the Zia sun. And it's on New Mexico's flag. So this might be in New Mexico here. That would explain why all the cops are Hispanic too.
I'm disabled veteran.
I'm a disabled veteran.
All right, but since you're refusing to, we're gonna put you in a wrap system.
Yeah, now they're gonna put him in like the big like burrito wrap thing since he won't comply.
Yeah, like the woman who peed herself. They gotta strap you up and stuff. That shit's embarrassing. It's already embarrassing enough, like being for him in this situation. But really, you're gonna have them like strap your feet up and carry you like a child or something.
Yeah.
Like a burrito.
I'm a disabled veteran. I didn't do nothing wrong.
Look, dude. Here, let me be real with you.
I'm a victim.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for what you did. All right.
You.
They try to be nice to him. He's like, "Fuck you."
I didn't do nothing wrong.
All right. Well, I'm down this. Cool. Gonna lay you down.
Stop. Seems like he's a nice guy.
I'm a wounded veteran, and my shoulders.
Now he's crying. He was such a tough guy.
Oh wow!
This
yeah,
is
it's
how
like a caterpillar now.
This is how disabled veterans get treated.
Like a worm now.
I can't feel
What the fuck?
my hands. You guys are f***ing abusing me. You piece of shit.
He's pushing his.
You. I'm not pushing.
They got the helmet on
Sit
him.
up, okay?
I'm sitting up.
Don't throw yourself
Yeah,
down.
because he was banging his head against stuff, so that makes sense. I don't think I've ever seen a police thing and they put a helmet on them.
I've seen it. I've seen the spit hood too.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I think we've seen that on one of the videos we just watched
You should
recently.
take somebody else, because you're a racist piece of shit.
No, I'm not. But okay.
You think you're cool, man.
I don't.
You ram me up.
I really don't. You're making this harder than it needs to be.
Fuck you! Anytime they say anything to him, he's just like, fuck you!
Wrong. I'm making it as easy as I can. I didn't do nothing wrong.
Or they refused. Yeah, because he didn't want to let the doctor check him or the nurse. Sit up. He was yelling like 30 seconds ago. Was it?
And then he passed out.
Yeah, now he's
Passed out, huh?
Ow! Ow!
Put your head down.
I'm trying! Ow! You! Ow!
I don't understand why you keep, like, Supergirl's boyfriend, why do you keep saying that's sad? The dude fucking tried to start a bar fight and got arrested and has been acting like a fucking retard the whole time. Like, I don't think it's sad. I'm very much against police, like, abusing their power, but they gave this guy a chance to just, like, leave. You know? They gave him, a lot of these videos are like this, where they're like, you gotta leave. If you don't leave, you're gonna be arrested. And they're like, no, I can stay if I want. And then they act all tough, and then they end up like this dude.
Oh, please! Help me! Help me! Please! I didn't do nothing! Ow! Please listen. I didn't do nothing. Come on, officer. Nothing. I have not been violent. Officer.
I'll check your cuff. Do you want me to check your cuff?
Yes.
Sit up and go that way. Can you roll?
Really?
Well, that's a serious question. I can fit a full finger. They're gauged properly.
So the cuffs aren't even as tight.
No.
Sorry, they're not meant to be comfy.
What for? What charge?
He's asking again what the charges are.
They already told you.
No, they didn't.
He told you like 10 times.
I want the supervisor. I want your supervisor.
You were just at the jail. Now you're at the hospital because you wouldn't let them check you out at the jail. So now you're at the hospital because they have to take you there.
Supervisor.
Yeah.
Where do you guys go with?
Disorderly, concealing, and assault.
Oh, wow. Well, there's your charges.
Oh, okay, then how about slavery, abuse of power? I didn't do nothing wrong.
Slavery?
Yeah, I got your badge. And treat like this. Oh, listen to what? You arrested me right out the bat. There was no
No, they didn't.
talking.
They told you you needed to leave.
I didn't even get the chance to explain myself. You. No. I want your sergeant. I want your supervisor right now.
Hey, there's sick people.
Yeah, you're in a position to make demands.
Here, dude. So can you chill out? It's like
No.
1 a.m.
I want the supervisor.
He's like, there's sick people here. Can you chill out? It's like 1 a.m.
You're acting like this at 2:30 in the morning in an ER.
I'm being charged for doing nothing wrong.
You could be mad at
I didn't do nothing.
Hey, sir, you can be mad at us all you want.
Take me to jail.
You were just there. Now you're saying put me in the
Put me in the hospital. I didn't do nothing wrong. Hey, I got your ass. Yeah. You're trying to give me a guilt trip? Yeah. I'm strapped up? Yeah, you too. I didn't do nothing wrong. Cortez, Aguirre, and Rivera. Yep. Both, all three of you. You ain't gonna have a job after this. You know that, right?
Oh, okay.
Hey, turn your camera on.
It is on.
All right, good.
It's been on.
I know my
It's good that the camera's on. No.
rights. I know my rights. I know my rights. And I'm being arrested.
There's kids in here sick. All right. You might not care about us, but at least have a little respect for them.
Oh yeah, I care about kids.
Huh? How you doing?
Do you want to be seen for anything medical today? Did you want to be seen for anything medical?
I plead the fifth.
That guy's not a cop, dude. That guy's like a nurse. He's pleading the fifth to a nurse. Oh.
Talk to my lawyer. I can't feel my hands. These officers are abusing me. You can check me out. Officer? Arresting officer? What's the charge? Yeah, because you're not man enough to say it on camera, huh?
I said it like 10 times on camera.
You know I'm gonna f***ing sue you. You know that, right? I didn't do nothing. It hurts. It hurts. Please help me. I'm a disabled veteran. I didn't do anything
Mentally disabled.
for taking me out of the hospital. Hey! Help me!
Yeah, I mean, this would have been a lot easier if it was legal for them to just trank him, but obviously we don't want to give the police that kind of authority. So
You're not gonna help me? Ow! Ow! Holy shit! Oh my god! This hurts! Straight up abuse of power.
As long as you don't move, that's the best position.
Yeah,
I'm most comfortable.
You got the big one?
Yeah,
And this is why police officers definitely need raises. Think about it, yeah. Police are met by one of the bouncers, and they're told that a male who's already been kicked out is back inside. So knowing this, officers are aware that they're probably going to have to deal with someone who, one, might be hostile, and two, is probably drunk. And this is why, as a cop, you need those positive traits in your personality, because aggressive versus aggressive probably will not work. And when these officers approach, they're calm, and they're not aggressive when they make contact with one of the patrons, and that's a good thing. Now, the bouncers do step in and try to deal with this guy, and I do respect this because on most occasions, people disappear when the men in blue show up. And at this point, the bouncer starts to nicely walk him out, like that teaching scene from Patrick Swayze's Roadhouse movie, but the patron is still beginning to get aggressive. So now the officers do step in and take the male outside, and they do cuff him, but that doesn't stop him from arguing with the officers about his rights and with the bouncers about his jacket.
About his rights.
Keep in mind that he was only detained at the moment, but that changed quickly. And then we learned that the male in custody wasn't even the initial problem, but police do arrest him for disorderly conduct, which they clearly had probable cause to do, and that also prevented him from getting behind the wheel of a vehicle. But to all my future cops out there, please make sure the situation plans are innocent unless.
All right, he was charged disorderly conduct, assault on a peace officer, concealing identity. Interesting. That's something. So the show is about to continue on Patreon. I did link the post on Patreon in the description below. I'll put it in the chat too, so you guys can go there really quick. It's for all $10 plus patrons that help support the show. There it is right there. If you go there, if you're already a $10 plus patron, the link to the show will be right there. If you're not, go there, sign up. You can sign up and cancel at any time. If you sign up now, you're going to get a whole bunch of extra content between now and the rest of the month, including the back catalog. There's all sorts of stuff you can go and watch from years past that you may have missed. There's a lot of shit. Sign up. It helps keep the show going, and I really appreciate it a lot. So yeah, sign up, and I'll see you guys all there. We're going to watch some Cobra stuff, shoot the shit. Maybe Shabisky will get drunk. We'll see what happens, all right? We will see all you guys there. Go there now. Do it now!